Okay, so we're back for Memento Mori. Wow, session 8. So yeah, once again, Nick's back. Sarah's out. She's in a deposition. Next week we're going to flip to intermediate tier, nice. Right? And then the week after, the two of you are out for the wedding.
We'll be out. Yep.
So yeah, next week at the beginning of the game, we will flip to the new profession.
Excuse me.
And we'll just jump right back in. So let's go ahead and start. So you going? Let's roll for fortune misfortune first. Right, grab a d6. Yeah. Give me some misfortune.
6.
Come on. Oh yeah. Oh, 2. Okay. So you start with 4.
Just me. I'm the betrayer.
And I get 2 misfortune. So let's do initiative next. So Nick is our initiative queen tonight, with Sarah being out. No, it's not true. We'll talk about what happened soon. You can erase everything off the sides there, Nick, because they're not applicable. The fight is over. Fight time.
Yeah.
Fight. So you can read equals Dav. You can pull that one off.
Make sure those are all erased.
So what do we get for initiative, y'all? Let's start first with Lady Sabella. What'd you get?
Oh, mine is 12.
12? Cool.
Having a moment. Okay. Math, what's that? Not a word.
Matt. Effing magnets. You can get rid of Dwight.
Don't worry.
Wilson
got Wilson got rid of Dwight.
Wilson got rid of him. What'd you get, Wilson, for initiative?
10.
Oh, wow.
Horrible, but
that was me. Excuse me.
Well, you're a warrior, so you know it's okay.
I need to wait anyway.
What about Lester? What did Lester Longarm get?
17.
Nice.
I rolled really high. I rolled 9.
Dang.
Take it.
What'd you get tonight? Becca. Chuckles? Not Chuckles, sorry. Where's your character placard for initiative?
It's not on there. Yeah, you didn't have it last time.
Oh, that's right. It's right here. It's Hiram Miramore. Here you go. Boom. You're back in business.
The boy
What'd you get, Hiram?
16.
Nice. And then finally, Chuckles.
14.
14. Wow, not bad. You can erase the Bombard. That didn't happen.
Let's say, who's Bombard?
Who's Bombard?
That is a good question. So, what did that Bombard hit?
While Nick, our initiative queen, is fixing the initiative ladder, let's go ahead and talk about what happened last week. Who wants to kick us off? Well, we started in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, we started in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, we started in the middle of the fight. That's right. So Nick missed what happened the week before that. So Nick, can you tell us the last thing that you remember?
No.
So what you missed is basically we tried to track down the mortician's killer, right? Or who was stealing bodies. Sorry, we were tracking down who was stealing bodies.
Yeah, we were tracking down who was stealing bodies.
Yeah, so we had a stakeout.
So we did a stakeout. And we figured out who was tracking down the bodies. Then Chuckles, like...
Well, what happened? What we find out?
Where did they take him?
Alright, so we found out that there was this lady that came in with a carriage. She ended up taking the carriage... I'm just going to shorten it a bit. She took the carriage back to Harker Construction. Which is one of the main, huge families or whatever. She takes a scarf off of the front gate and she puts it on with 2 other scarves that she's wearing, so she now has 3 scarves on. We follow her back to this shitty pub called the Hanging Death Bat. Find out her name is Jules because Chuckles makes friends with her by sitting next to her and doing nothing for long periods of time, and she gets drunk enough to just want to talk to the weird dude next to her.
They say she's jinxed.
Yes, she's jinxed.
She clearly did not want to talk, so I did not talk to her.
And then
They just kept buying her drinks.
She was appreciative, yeah.
So come to find out that Aurora Harker is the one that lives there, and it's her estate. She took over from her brother, basically shoved her brother out of it. He's on the council, but he no longer owns Harker's Construction. It's her.
Is it Harker House? Is that the mansion, or is Harker Estate? What was the name of the
Harker Estate, I guess.
Okay.
So we find out she doesn't want to do this, but she's getting paid a lot. That's why Jules is doing this. She ends up getting kicked out of the bar because she's that girl. And then...
she was that
she
girl.
was really that
She
girl.
was that bitch. We all know who that person is.
She gave Chuckles a nickname, Ha Ha.
So yeah,
Right,
his name is
Chuckle
Nahama.
Haha.
So then we were heading back to
Called him Elf like
Bardstown
that.
for the night, and we got jumped by a bunch of river rats.
So let's have somebody else pick up what happened in Bardstown and the River Rats. Who was among the River Rats
Who
that
runs
was there?
Bardstown?
Who runs Bardstown? River Rats. Run Bardstown.
So there was a mouthy guy, and then behind him was the woman that we first encountered in the alley, the
Yeah.
one that we let go.
Shelley Thack.
Sure.
Shelley Thacker.
She didn't get let go this time.
Did she get axed?
Yeah,
Okay.
She got.
she got axed.
That's an impressive distance.
Yeah. So so it was basically you don't want any of this, and then they're like, yeah, we do, and it was like, you don't want any of this, and they're like, yeah, we do, and then Wilson cut off the dude's hands eventually, and then ended him that way, and then it was a big fight. They had guys on the boat. They had people behind us with dogs.
They had a
But
cannon.
luckily for us, they were garbage shots.
They kept killing each other.
They kept on hitting each other because they would shoot at their friends in combat.
So many critical failures.
Critical failures. Everyone was critical failing. Like I critically
Everybody.
failed.
Everybody.
No.
He threw his shield into the water.
I critically succeeded.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, we had. Yeah, I was saying.
Yeah.
At least
The only-
Isabella had some crit successes.
Yeah,
I had a ton of crit failures. You all had some crit
Yeah.
failures.
My
yeah.
rolls, man.
It was pretty rough. I think Wilson used a fate point.
I did.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
down to 0.
So Dwight, if you remember Dwight from the
Airmore's parlor.
Airmore's parlor,
He was the guard at
Yeah.
the high stakes
he's
table.
Zweihander.
Mm-hmm.
So he
He's
came
the
out.
key.
And,
Yeah.
The guy I told to fuck off.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I got you a gift too, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah. So he went toe to toe with Wilson, and then
Lady,
and then Lady Sabella came in, and they just 1-2 whacked him.
We did
whacked him.
actually.
Yeah, Sabella and Wilson made short work of
Yeah.
Dwight.
It was
Yeah, that was one of her criticals.
like
yeah.
and then she got a
Like
6.
Yeah.
She had 22 damage. Let's
And
be
I did-
clear.
and then I did-
22
then I did
damage.
28.
And then he did 20. Yeah.
That's right.
and then
20,
Dwight
28
did
or
something.
something like
Like,
that.
he
22 and then
critted
26,
too. It was like
40 all
Yeah.
crits all.
I rolled 3 6s in a row.
It was
on
explosion
that attack.
galore.
It was
Yeah.
explosion city.
Oh, on me,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what got the hit. The fate point there was just massive damage.
Should took that drawback. Go on now.
Yeah, and then
Should have took that drawback.
yeah, and so this fight was just brutal.
They tried to shoot a cannon at us.
They did try to shoot a cannon at us, but thankfully we had all of the coins at that time,
Uh-huh.
and so Wilson was able to get there and kind of angle it away from us and out towards the city somewhere.
Yeah.
We don't-
It's the only way over there. I couldn't get it to go any further.
We didn't know where it landed, but hashtag not our problem.
Lester says hashtag not our problem. It's in the paper.
Yeah. And so then we looted the bodies. One person begged for their life, and I believe was finished by Eaglestaff.
Yes.
I let someone run away. They jumped off the boat and swam in the river, and I was like, get out of here. I tried to give a guy a ball, and he didn't want my signed pigskin, like, bastard. And so...
Did you throw it at him and kill him?
No, I tossed it at him as a distraction because I was trying to be like a
Yeah.
It was a really witty idea.
It was really
Yeah.
clever. It just got some bad rolls.
Yeah, it was
and
just
no action
terrible.
points.
Nope, I used a fortune point to re-roll. It was like, nope.
Yeah.
And Dan even gave him a good bonus
Yeah,
because
he
it was
did.
such a good
Yeah.
idea.
It was just
But
like
no.
90-something, 80-something.
Damn,
Not gonna
can't
happen.
win anyway.
Yeah,
It was that bad.
It was the dice.
So really pitched battle, and eventually at the end,
I was grievously wounded.
they it was bad, and then Wilson struck off Dwight's head,
Yeah.
and from there they're like, all right, let's pick everything off of these people, and then you took it to
We picked them all up and then we pickled
The
them.
pit.
what's that?
Eaglestaff pickled one of them again.
Yeah.
Pickled the head.
Oh,
Well, no,
we
No,
just-
she picked up the whole body.
Oh yeah,
did.
she picked up the body and threw it in the
river again.
Whitewater River. She threw it in a barrel full of pickled fish.
So
Yeah.
she pickled another body.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
It's like
then
her calling card.
And then she ritually slaughtered one of them for her
Yeah,
blood magic,
she
and she
did.
just unlocked that talent.
Yeah.
She did.
And then we're planning on preserving the head. Yeah.
So you all went from there to be prepared. If you remember, it's that weird doomsday prep. You went back
Right.
to
We slept.
Big Corey's.
We went to Big Corey's, then we went to the doctor's, where we saw some river rats, and I gave them a ball.
The same river rats they fought, by the
Yeah,
way.
I gave them a ball. I was like,
So they went. So to be clear, they went to the dregs to Whiskey Sawbones.
Yeah.
To visit Dr. Drake, and in line on the couch were two of the river rats that had run away. Because remember, Dr. Drake, and remember something like at some point Wilson says something, and Dr. Drake doesn't say this is a neutral ground. And then he says,
take those stupid belts off.
yeah, and then at that point Lester gave one of them one.
Yeah, I gave him the ball. I gave him the ball.
The
Yeah,
big
yeah,
skin. That's here you go.
Here you go, champ.
And they're like, what? One man, the woman wouldn't even look at them. The
Yeah.
guy's just like
Like,
frozen in terror, like. But the smart thing is that Lady Sabella said, "Let's grab a cart and let's pick them clean."
Yeah.
And so you all took
very smart.
this is kind of where we ended the game. You'd taken all of the weapons to be prepared, and who's the woman who runs it? Do you recall?
Fiona?
Fiona Arlux. That's
Yes,
right.
Fiona Arlix. Yeah.
And you all had a back of the shop
Back room
meeting with
deal?
her. Yeah.
Yep.
And what'd you learn?
All of this was picked off of the guard.
We think it was a former guard stockpile that had been like abandoned because there's only like 20 of them.
Well, and it was all in very, very bad disrepair.
Very bad shape. Wasn't
However, we saved some for you guys if you wanted leather
Yeah.
armor.
So
Yeah.
leather armor,
I made sure that I knew you
and
didn't.
so leather armor. There was what else too?
Bows, the stealth bows.
The
Stealth bows.
Stealth bows.
They are technically stealth bows due to their
great. They're
quality.
stealth balls. Yes.
So before we start, do either one of you want leather armor
Yeah, I'll take it.
or a self bow?
Can't do the self bow.
Well, yeah.
It's martial ranged.
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
it's not a
It's your profession thing.
it's got a blade on it even though it's not bladed.
Yeah.
So
So leather armor is 2 damage threshold, right?
yeah, 2 damage threshold,
And 3 encumbrance.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll mark those off. And anything that remains.
Did you want a bow, Nick?
No.
No
Okay,
self
so
bow.
that means we're selling 2 more bows, which puts us at another 6 silver.
Nice. Yeah, if you want to, before we kind of jump in, we'll dispense with the remainder of the monies.
Does
Six
leather
is-
armor have any
So-
qualities?
Natural.
No. Oh,
Yeah, natural.
no. It is not.
Oh, does it?
Anymore?
No. Leather armor does not have natural quality. It never has.
Oh no, it's clothing that is natural. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So that means everybody gets another silver. You guys all together, your total that you get is 4 gold and 2 silver
Oh, okay.
from
Yeah.
our looting.
4 gold and 2 silver.
And I used the excess to buy us a jar to put Dwight's head in.
I want a giant jar of pickles.
So, before we begin, is there anything specifically for Chuckles and for Nick? We need to start the game and get you into the story, but we also need to resolve any shopping you're going to do quickly. The alternative is to do your shopping at the end of the game session. We'll assume that you bought it during the game. It's up to you.
I would just need to have been healed up.
Okay. He was 6 shillings for a visit, and you go, and you have 70% chance to succeed.
Okay.
You know what? We're just gonna assume he succeeds.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of what you do with them, I think.
Yeah. So you
you
go up
just
2
go 2
steps in the
steps,
damage
yeah.
condition track.
Yeah, that was your...
Oh wait, nope. Sorry, I can't.
Injured?
Yeah, I'm injured.
Oh no!
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So that's 1 crown.
Okay.
And you're
She'll
is it
need
a moderate
surgery.
injury or serious?
Circe.
Seriously?
Seriously?
Wow.
Seriously?
Seriously?
Oh my God! 9 days. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
9 days.
That's,
It could have been
Yeah.
worse.
Well,
It
at
could've
least you can
been.
heal now.
It
Yeah.
could have been 12 days,
Yeah.
like with what Eaglestop had.
Yeah.
right, and then
got the
now
IBS.
now that that's been done, I
You go
can
2
get.
steps. Yeah.
Okay.
If you need medicines or smelling salts,
Got 'em all.
you can purchase those as well. They are double the price.
Yeah.
How much is a tincture then?
Tincture. That's a good question. Actually, I'm not going to answer that question. I am offloading this responsibility to you, the players. You have your own books.
Tincture is normally 1 gold crown.
So double it. Yep.
No, not buying it.
So laudanum is normally 4, so it's 8.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
I bought 1.
As Fiona said, demand is going up and supplies are getting very low. Now that you're 37 days into the Eternal Night.
And she is obviously making money off of everyone.
She is what I like to refer to as she stuck her sword in the lottery orc and hit jackpot.
Right.
Ching. I told you I would bring a light tracker. I actually have it done. I just left them at work today after printing them, and my printer's not connected to my laptop, so I can't. So I'll try to print them when we take a break.
Okay.
But I do have light trackers for you.
Nice.
Yeah, it has
What was
little
pot of oil?
light is also light illumination's also
Is that
twice the
light?
price.
Light sources. Well, that's a lamp.
They'll all be in the same place.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's where light sources are.
I don't know. Dan told me last time.
It's like
I bought 2 pots of oil.
It's
That's the only
shilling. It's like a couple shilling.
Yeah.
Oil pot is 1
1
silver
shilling.
shilling.
That's what I thought.
Dose.
Because I paid 4 shilling for 2. Before. I got some,
Before the Eternal Night.
I got some oils.
Yeah.
I got some
But
oils stocked up.
the good thing is that you now have someone who will buy black market goods.
Yeah.
Like she will,
At 60%.
at 60% from here on out.
Was
That's what
50,
Lady
so-
Sabella managed to negotiate.
See, wasn't it
You've
smart of me?
made a friend.
I don't do the deals.
That's
She does deals.
That's right. So,
Talk to the boss lady.
yeah.
I just need bargain.
More bargain.
You were successful. That's all that matters.
That's true. It's because my fellowship's 50.
Nice. That helps.
I'm a boss ass bitch. What can I say?
So we turn now to outside of Be Prepared in Market Hill. And we know, I'm actually printing this off, I think I have it handy. You have already done some of the work already for finding out where the bodies are taken. Remember that the chief augur, Celestia Turnwhip, was offering, was it 5 gold crowns, I believe? For information leading to
Who was stealing bodies?
yeah, or a resolution for what to happen. So we will turn to
Yeah.
daytime as best you can reckon, at least. You can see
I'll take one.
the lights of the shops around Market Hill and the burning and the lamps that are kind of arranged on lampposts along the streets. Remember, Market Hill is it's a middle class, well-to-do kind of place in Slaughter Pine. The roads are cobbled, kind of. The business in most of Market Hill is up this big, long, sloping, winding hill. Imagine like San Francisco. There's like brownstone buildings everywhere. That's kind of what Market Hill is like.
That's where I'm from.
Yeah. So you're kind of on this long slope. But of course, anytime a carriage goes down the hill, they always go really slowly. As you look overhead, you can see low-hanging clouds. It almost seems like the Eternal Night has been banished, surprisingly, in the middle of the rain. Because, of course, light reflects off of water. There's lots of moisture in the air. The low-hanging clouds and the flancing of lightning and the light inside of all these glass pane windows looks a bit like this. So it looks kind of
That's cool.
London-y, you know. You can see a few carriages moving down the way, a few people kind of running beneath the eaves of the buildings. You all are swaggering through. You've got your cart and your job, but you do still have to report back to the House of Augurs at some point to report back what you found.
Yeah, I think that was the next step, wasn't it? Offload stuff and then.
Yep.
Yep. Go talk to Selznia and then go to Airmore's parlor.
Yeah, it's entirely up to you.
We haven't been able to talk about the present.
Yeah, so at some point or another, Hiram, you managed to join back up with them in Market Hill. You were probably drinking at some place down the road, and you managed to catch up with everybody just outside of Be Prepared like you had planned.
Yeah.
Hiram,
Oh,
I've got a present for you.
Good to see you again. What was that?
Remember that big bastard who was kidnapped your uncle and was holding him hostage?
Yeah.
Well, here you go. I hand you the head in the pickle jar.
A grim gift indeed.
And formaldehyde.
Wow.
Yeah, embalming fluid for that one.
It cost us a pretty penny, but figured that might be a nice little way to walk into Airmore's parlor and take your uncle's shot back.
Indeed, yes. I guess that means I'm carrying it then.
Why would you not want to carry such a thing?
It's a gift. Of course you're carrying it, right? Hey, don't you like your gift?
Maybe it's the way that Wilson is framed and the flashing of the lightning. Maybe it's just the fact that you're still kind of there's still kind of like a, remember, nobody dreams in the eternal night. Maybe some memories of that is coming back to you. Hiram, it's kind of up to you. But yeah, so he canned you a big clay jar, and as you uncork it, it smells like pickles, and inside you see this kind of wet tufts of hair, and you pull it out, and it, sure enough, it's that big dumb galoot Dwight, who looks just like Dwight Schrute from The Office. Question.
You
What
don't want
gambling game is best?
you
Blackjack.
don't want to carry? You good, strong? You can carry.
I suppose I can.
Why
That
you
was
make-
tough to get, man. I mean, I really kind of thought
Thank you. Yes.
All right, there we go. That's the reaction we were hoping for.
And in the rain, Wilson.
Rain Wilson.
So,
Nice.
with that being said, what do you all want to do from here?
Head to the Augur, House of Augurs.
Yeah. Well, the fortunate thing is that the House of Augurs is actually in Market Hill, so you could have trudge up this slick, wet cobblestone hill, and across the way, in the midst of the rain, you could see the sprawling graveyard, and already you can see that there are a number of wagons parked within the graveyard itself, big lumber wagons, and you can hear the kind of rhythmic hammering as clearly Parker Construction is seeing to the repairs of the palisade that surrounds the entirety of Slaughter Pine.
I wonder what happened there.
Almost.
Oh,
So if that's at your 2 o'clock, if that's at your 7 o'clock, at your 3 o'clock, just almost across the way, up on a high grassy hill, you can see the House of Augurs, this cold gray cathedral of the custodian, where they see to dreams and death. And you make your way up this winding kind of stony path, up this long procession of stairs beyond the lamps, and make your way into the grim surroundings of the cathedral. As you step inside, it's nice and warm. You hear the crackling of fires, and you can see the light kind of being cast this way and that inside the high vaulted ceilings. There's a huge, like, stained glass gray window with this, like, explosion. It almost looks like an opening of a flower, and all these smaller stained glass windows beneath of it, casting in every once in a while the light from outside. But the place, despite the fact that it is fairly small, the light doesn't seem to stretch to every corner. In fact, it looks kind of like this. So yeah, it's kind of a dark place. You're walking across flagstone, and sure enough, you see across the way the chief augur, Celsia Turnwhip. Looks like she literally like crawled out of her grave. She's sweating profusely. She has pale to fair skin, dark gray eyes that match her dark gray robes. You can see a procession of augurs in her wake that are making their way into another alcove. And she is walking with what looks like a brass censer, as if perhaps they held ceremony recently. Good morrow, friends, she says, welcoming you, and she gives a slight bow to her hands. She's holding her hands like such, and she bows to you. Please, shall we adjourn to my quarters?
Yes.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Your clothes are a bit wet, and your boots are a bit muddy, but she doesn't seem to mind. You imagine one of the many acolytes who tend to the House of Augurs. I keep calling them augurs, but it's augurs, like an augury. Some attendant to the House of Augurs will see to it. You come into her personal quarters, where you can still hear the soft rumbling of thunder, and the fire roars in here. There's a massive chandelier, hanging a wooden chandelier with burning candles. You can see wax that's gathered on the ground where it's fallen and dripped over time. She walks over and pours from a decanter some sort of wine, a very plain decanter for that matter. The wine, you've tasted this before, it's very plain and inexpensive. She walks across the flagstone and sits kind of behind a commanding oaken desk about the size of this table that's scattered with pages and books and little icons of skulls and other measurements she would use, including a full, like, what would be equivalent of a plat map, we may know it as, but like a full, like, illustrated scroll of the entirety of the graveyard surrounding all of the House of Augurs, and they're all alpha numbered, alpha letter, so that she can count for who's buried in what plot. Including, you can see that there's a marking from where the ditch was, where the mass ossuary is, and it's marked with several, and it's marked with one number, and it has some other numbers beside it too. So, she says, quite rather wet outside today, rather cold.
At least you can see.
Storm has not let up in a while, save for earlier yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought I saw someone amid the graveyards when the rains had lifted. I trust it was a lot of you.
It was not only us.
Yeah. We weren't quite alone. Well, we found your culprits on the corpses being missing.
Oh?
Yeah, I know you know one of them, but do you know Aurora Harker?
Lady Aurora Harker? She was in the graveyard?
Well, yeah. Okay. No, her wagon was.
Yeah, in by proxy. I mean, you know, if we arrest person who take it, you just get another. It will not solve problem.
Yeah, but her wagon happened to be, and that is most definitely where the body got dropped off. So,
Who was acting on her behalf?
a person.
Yes.
Yep. Here,
Wait,
let's be honest. It's just somebody who's been paid and has nothing to do with her other than that.
He is not on same social standing. Doing things out of desperation. You know, is if like the only point of it is desperation. You know, desperation point.
She flips through some papers on her table that is rather alarming.
Yes.
We've certainly had spates of grave robbery before, but mostly to see to the theft of valuables and other baubles of folk that would have been buried from Mount Sawdust here in the graveyard.
No, this was just they want the bodies. Didn't really seem to care what was on the bodies, just dead people.
What was most alarming to me was that they took the child.
Indeed.
I can't say why they chose what, but I can say that that's whose carriage took them to their estate.
I'm sure you noticed we'd had a ceremony for the passing of the mortician, she says, still not saying his name. We had not yet been able to attend to the crossing, she says, as if some sort of official term of the burial of people in the ossuary. We have not yet been able to attend to the crossing. You said that a child was taken was absconded away.
Yeah. That's what they took, was a child.
Yeah. They
That
took
was
a
the
child,
last body, yeah.
put it in the cart.
Why do you think the child? What connection?
Were the other bodies children?
She shrugged her shoulders. I don't know. I don't attend to those things. That was the mortician's job. We have been in disarray since his passing.
Well,
You know,
Anything special about this child? Anything unusual? Who was he? What was
Well,
his manner of
you
death?
were there.
You were
Who's
She
that
raised
child?
her head.
The one on the street.
with the woman that got stabbed.
The
She
one who
lowers
was
her head.
brutally murdered.
You're right. I'm so sorry. I'd almost forgotten. It's been...
It's been a real rough 30 days or so.
Or like 2.
So, Lady Aurora Harker, you suspect?
No.
Well,
She's paying for these bodies to be dropped off at her estate.
But for a moment, let's walk through this. Lady Aurora Harker pays some desperate person from the dregs, I'm assuming, to pilot her own coach to the cemetery to abscond away with the body.
back to her estate.
But for what reason? She ponders.
well, I mean, this person did not know. I talked to person. I could tell you name. I don't want to, because again, they would just get another. So it could be for, maybe they try and do something which has been catching on. I think it's called science. Is something, they want to take it apart and learn.
Well, you know what they say about the suing. What business would Lady Harker have with the body? That's what we need to find out.
Yeah.
Understandably, but the thing you asked us was to find out who, not why.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess, we wake up, we have to worry, okay, how are we going to eat? And we figure out how we're going to eat by what we do throughout the day. And we spend all day worrying about how we're going to eat. And so we don't have time to get bored. But if we don't have to worry about how to eat, you get bored, which leads to
Drinking.
or showing true character, whether or not you are a good person, bad person, somewhere in between, because not all world is black and white. We see in color. Is that euphemism you use?
Sure.
I see what you're getting at.
I don't.
You're saying,
Well, young lady, it seems like you're trying to pinch me for more money, but you haven't solved the crime.
I didn't say anything about money. Don't glare at me like that.
Oh, I think he was talking
You-
about Lady. What the hell's this woman's
Well-
name? The uppity
Aurora
up that's
Harker.
getting. Yeah, the uppity up who's getting the bodies delivered. He's talking about her.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
She no have to worry about how to eat for day, so she get bored.
she plays with dead bodies.
That
All
is
I know-
that is a
You're-
gross
They're
assumption.
saying, I mean,
That is an incredibly gross assumption. And I do not doubt that there is something nefarious going on, but I cannot bring such things forth to Captain Urina Talferis without proper evidence.
No, see,
Simply being a witness to seeing some low-life scum steal a coach.
well, they took the coach into
okay.
the manor house, but yeah.
Once again,
you
Witnessing something is not the same as having evidence. What evidence can we produce against this? That's my question.
Though I appreciate...
Because this does need... We need evidence of some sort to prove this.
I think we need to stop for a moment here, Selznia. See, though I...
Chief Augur, Lady Isabella. I have earned my honorific, and I had expected on my own house you shall abide by it.
Chief Augur.
Thank you.
While I appreciate the spot that you find yourself in, not having evidence against one of the town's most reputable families, and though I understand that this puts you in a hardship place, you call someone scum that's just trying to survive again, and we may have more problems. Okay?
I was referring to the
No.
woman.
You were referring to the person that we are trying to state was only trying to survive. Alright? So, back off your fucking high horse and let's talk. Okay? Here's where it goes. If you would like us to continue looking into this, we can. But what we stated was, in the same vein that you are having problems with having to find evidence against this person that is of high renown, we would have the same problems. So therefore, we came back to you with what you asked for, which was, where are these bodies going?
She turns around and
You've
pulls
made
out.
a lot of assumptions on my group and what we might possibly want, and I don't appreciate that coming from you.
She turns around and pulls the broadsheet off off the table. The river rats caught. Known mercenaries, known simply as the rat catchers, have been doing business for coin with Chief Augur Lady Selznia for unknown purposes. You see, it's in the broadsheet, so that makes it true.
Does it?
Not only does it make it true, it also brings power to the business that you do in Slaughterpine. For good or for ill.
Well, all we've done is good, but
Wait, we are rat catchers now?
I have no idea what that even means, but yes, I guess so.
Well, it seems this man, Ned Merrick, the chief editor of the Slaughterpine Purveyor, has apparently been following you all. This is the second story I've read on your lot. First, it was the case of the missing dog with Isla Grapevine, which led, of course, you to me, which is how we met. But this editor has been following your tracks.
I don't know. I just use that when I go out to the outhouse.
No less. It's now in print, so it makes it true. So you see, we are inextricably linked, and we can take advantage of this. If you can bring evidence to your point, bring evidence to this wrongdoing, I can give those words power. I can bring this to Captain Irina Talfuris with the Night Watch and can deal with Lady Aurora Harker, but we cannot do it on assumptions alone.
So,
Couldn't we just get this editor guy and make him write down what we
Write that
want?
shit? Yeah. If you said if it's real, it's in the paper.
well,
Then we can just blame them, and we can save ourselves all the work.
so my question is, I mean,
I suppose that's a shortcut.
yeah, that might work.
Okay, so if we have to go into Harker House, which sounds strangely scary now that I say it out loud, but if we have to go to Harker House, then I have an idea. We wait outside, we throw a stone, one guard goes to investigate.
This sounds
Explode the
suspiciously.
AI.
This sounds suspiciously like a different plan that we had. So far our plans are throw a rock and hope that multiple people come out one at a time to possibly investigate said rock, and have somebody write fake things in a paper.
You
Those
know.
are-
See,
those
last
are
time I
plans.
didn't have rock.
While I certainly appreciate you trying to formulate your plan in my office, I think I may have a solve for you. That will
Go
keep
on.
you from having to
There's a ball.
cast a silhouette, so to speak. There
There's
are
a
no
ball.
illusions this way. There is an opportunity. I have told you before that I am very good friends with the Harkers. Primarily the chief council member, her brother. I can get you inside Harker House for an inquiry.
What sort of inquiry?
The inquiry that you need to make to connect the dots. The evidence that we would need together to prove this crime.
On what preface would we be walking in?
What sort of introduction would you like? And I could write it. Providing there is some kernel of truth to it. Whether it be official business or not, the rat catchers are real. People know who you are now.
I don't know about that title.
What about only a lieutenant of truth?
Lieutenant of Truth. Yeah. That's
Damn,
exactly right.
damn near how I remember that.
Colonel of Truth.
You were. I was trying not to do it.
I know. I remember rewatching it recently too.
Alright, well, I guess we need to stop and think for a bit on what our bit of truth would be to want to get into said place.
You are certainly welcome to walk the grounds of the House of Augurs to speak. It is a quiet place. No one comes and goes. You shall not be interrupted. In fact, I could see to having a personal alcove set aside for the lot of you, should you need to be on this side of town. If we bring this business to its end. But I can extend that to you temporarily.
Well, it's raining.
It wouldn't be the first time I set up camp in a graveyard.
Wouldn't it be probably insightful that there'd be a body again taken tonight?
I suppose it depends if the rain lifts. How often are the bodies being taken to Harker House? I mean, there's so many missing pieces for me still.
They said every time it was rain, or that's what...
Well, the one,
3 of them.
the person's
3 so far.
had 3 bodies. Taken 3 bodies. Does that sound about right?
Unless there were other people possibly before that. I don't know.
She scratches her chin, wiping the sweat away. Profusely sweating, despite the fact that it's cold. If I think back along the timeline since the Eternal Night fell, as I mentioned before, there were...
Yeah.
Sometimes when folk from Mount Sawdust were buried here, there would be resurrectionists who would grave robbers who would steal baubles and such. But no one ever take bodies for vivisection. That's for certain. Anything of that nature would have been handled by the chief mortician. And it would be done under official auspices of the House of Augurs. No less. Body snatching, body taking, well, the 3 that have went missing have happened only since the fall of the Eternal Night.
Does the chief mortician, does he keep records of the dead? Like, could we see if maybe those have some sort of link?
He does, and I have those records right here. She has a big stack of books. I can tell you explicitly the names of the bodies who have been taken, but even so, none of the names are of note. Most of them were, forgive me, from the dregs. People
No
that
notes on age.
certainly age varying, sex varying, no rhyme or reason to it.
So the other 2 weren't children.
No. One was a man in his 30s. She pulls out another book. Another was a woman in her elder age. She was in her 70s. Died of natural causes. The man died of an accident.
And the other one was murdered?
The child was, yeah.
The child was murdered,
Doesn't that
along with his
seem
mother.
Like,
They're trying to get one of each and everything, huh?
It's quite a variety, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I rest assured that no one has access to the records save for the chief mortician and myself.
I'm sure
Yes, but
she's-
if you happen to see it laying in front of you.
Once again, no one has access to my office save for myself, and the chief mortician is the record keeper. His job was one of solitude, as was demanded. He was an aesthetic.
Right. Above board. But everybody here knows that the mortician was a left-handed,
Yeah.
was a criminal, basically.
Yeah.
Or doing dirty things. Above board, because
That's not what happened. To clarify, the chief mortician, before he was called the chief mortician, he was supposed to become the chief augur. He was up for that. He was one of the chosen of the custodian, but he lost his ability to dream, to speak with the custodian. Over time, Lady Celsnia, who was his student, was promoted to chief augur, and she in return gave him the title of chief mortician because she felt he was overlooked and felt it necessary.
But I thought he was the one trying to get dogs or whatever.
That is what happened after the coming of the Eternal Night, yes. That happened only after the Eternal Night.
But still, he was slaughtering dogs.
Was he?
Doing
Was he?
something with them.
He was doing something with dogs.
He was collecting.
We never really discovered that, besides turning them into hellhounds.
Yeah.
Well, only one.
Only the one.
He'd only had
Hard.
a dog. Well, 2 dogs. Remember, the river rats had captured a dog and you had freed it, but the only dog he actually had was Rufus. Bug, yeah.
Bug.
So there are only 2 dogs. So just to paint a clear picture, there is no obfuscation here. I'm being completely transparent.
Okay.
Like there's only 2 dogs, Bug and Rufus.
So not
So
8.
what was the thing in the woods?
That was
Rufus.
Rufus.
Right, but he did that to the dog.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
We at least think so.
But
Okay.
was he a serial committer of crimes? Not that we
There's-
know. We just
yeah.
know that instance.
She
But
kind of clears her throat. In fact, if you recall, I did note I went through his personal belongings and after his passing, and found nothing in his personal records. All of his personal records were turned in to me nightly by him. His duties, his logs of what he did. The man was very meticulous and calculating. It was what is required of a person who is a mortician. And once again, it is not just simply someone who cares for the bodies, but also who cares for the spirit. I have no doubt in my mind that she cracks herself. The mortician was seeing to his duties. The business with these animals were not in the records. No less, I do not see any tangible connection between him and these missing bodies whatsoever. I think these are 2 unrelated yet still nefarious incidences that have occurred here in the House of Augurs.
Well, that alcove that you offered us to have a discussion, I think we'll take you up on that.
Certainly. She walks you back through the hallways of the temple, and you can hear the chamber music once again. You will find that the lodgings are satisfactory. As I said, should be able to bring this terrible business to its end. This place will be yours any time you wish for it. For now, rest, convene, relax, dry off. Should you need to wash, there is running pipes inside. Private chambers. Everything one could desire. No private entrance, however.
Yeah.
And a lock on the door.
Alright.
She hands Lady Sabella the key.
Thank you.
Oh, weirdly. Oh, bow weirdly.
Awkwardly.
Yeah, like
Not necessary. Let's just hope that
Chief
we, without,
augur person.
let us hope that with our with our good names combined and what we have read now in the Slaughter Pine Engager, that we can bring this together to an end, a fitting end, and we can expose whatever corruption is happening.
Thank you, Chief Augur.
Before you
As you
go,
will, lady.
Before you go, just thought you should know. Been some time around here where I heard everyone isn't having any dreams anymore, and just thought you should know I've been blessed by the custodian the other night, and I couldn't quite remember all the dream, but I don't know if you'd be interested in hearing it.
She ponders for a moment, biting her lip. It is true. Since the coming of the eternal night, the custodian no longer speaks to us. Typically, for most, she comes to us in dreams, confusing illusions and threads of stories that is hard for us to reattach. We augurs are blessed by the custodian to be able to interpret dreams. Admittedly, since the eternal night has fallen, I have not convened with the custodian. I now understand, I suppose, to some degree what it was like for Merle. She does not stop herself when she says that. No less. When the time is right, she places her hand upon Hiram's shoulder. We should speak of these dreams. Perhaps I can help you.
Perhaps sooner rather than later. You know how dreams have a habit of drifting away like a snowflake on your palm. I mean, maybe just get it down on some paper or something. I can't write it. Maybe one of you should.
Don't look at
While
Don't look at Lester.
Forgive me, Mr. Aramore. but I do not think that you are in the state, as of the moment, to speak of these things. You look dead tired.
Well, I was drunk when I had the dream. It seems like a pretty good frame of mind to me to remember it.
We will consider this for the future.
All right.
I don't know. I think that snowflake thing was pretty eloquent, man.
Poetic.
I sit down like
The door closes.
in this area. I get out my writing kit and I go on.
Well, just like I said, I couldn't hardly remember much about it, but we were back in the woods and this big old spider kept coming after me. And finally cat caught me. And started telling me all these things that didn't make any sense. Kind of like poems and prophecies or something. I couldn't remember them all. It was like a bunch of chatter like you'd read out of the leave room or something. They're here for priest's sake.
You remember any of them? That snowflake thing, man.
Okay.
I mean, it was what, half a week ago?
So
or more?
you hear poem. Was it in old, or was it in other language? You say chatter.
Well, I reckon it was old, considering I understood it at the time. I mean, as much as you can understand such a thing in terms of what it is, what the words are.
You see, you speak to me.
Mm-hmm.
I hear your words. My brain imagines myself making. So no, I do not understand. Or maybe no, what I'm trying to say is you speak to me, but I understand it still with my hands moving.
Oh, so like maybe if it were a dream and someone was speaking in ancient, all but myself in the dream knew it too. Could be, I don't know, but in the dream I understood it, is what I'm saying. Couldn't tell you whether it's all. I assume it was.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you speak ancient old?
Not while I'm awake.
Alright, that makes sense. I was wondering, I was like, wow. We got three educated people.
I pretend.
4. Eaglestaff's not here, but you know. She's smart.
she's beyond smart. There's,
Well, what I'm thinking, what I was trying to get at with our arguably friend was, I thought perhaps she could fish it out of my head, pull it out and read it back to me. Maybe it has some sort of significance. I don't know. Maybe I'll dream it again.
well, if there are details you are forgetting in between now and then, you will need myself or equal staff in order to read this.
Okay. I'll let you know.
Well, so past the dream then, for Celsius. Uppity. What do we want to do about this? I mean, I'm sure we can do some kind of introduction or whatever, I guess, to Aurora, but what do we want to go there for? Even,
We need
I mean,
to pick pretends.
yes.
So all we know is that the body in the cart got delivered there.
Right. We don't
Right.
even know if it's her.
It might have even gone somewhere else, right?
It might have. It could have been that was a stopping point. It could be that it's somebody on her staff or somebody else in her family that lives on the estate. Who knows?
What's this woman's business?
Construction.
So they're the ones that own and work with the lumber.
Harker Construction.
Yeah.
So, there's the mines and then there's the lumber, and they're the lumber part of town.
So
I worked for the mine.
we should probably not go in as lumber inspector then.
I don't know shit about trees.
Well, the only connection I can see with them is we got him the job fixing the palisade around the graveyard, and she probably knows that. Well, it wasn't us directly, but perhaps perhaps we could. I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking. Never mind me. I thought maybe we could give her a little bit of information regarding what we knew about the bar guests, and I don't know whether bar guests like running through walls all the time, but if it happens again, then maybe they'd be wanting to know ahead of time.
I don't think that's gonna work.
I also think her
Yeah,
brother's
you're probably
the one
right.
that scheduled the wall thing, not her.
That's good. We're all bar guests.
What about
We're all bar guests in Big Corey's pit.
Hey, you want to know the next time a flaming dog's gonna take off through a wall? I don't.
why don't we just talk to your friend and she next time she goes picks up bodies instead of picking up bodies, she picks us up.
Oh, and then we're
We go in
inside
the
cart, and cart go inside.
There we go.
I know there was 2 outside the gate. But how many more you think inside? Lots?
What?
Because when they open it up, it won't be like, hey, you're not dead. You know. Oh, yeah. By mistake. Goodbye.
Well, yeah, but I mean, are the
I'm
soldiers
feeling better.
are the soldiers in on it? Or you think the guards are in on it, or you think the guards just take the thing to wherever they're supposed to?
Well,
Because I don't know. I mean,
Well, okay.
I've never guarded a fancy person and then delivered them bodies before.
You are very.
I never did the second part.
You're right, but all fancy person
Oh,
would
yeah,
have to
yeah.
do is say guards, and then guard will come.
And walk away, right? I mean, a guard's just not gonna.
I can only assume, having been on the other side with the mining instead of the trees, that, you know, considering I was hired and a lot of other people were hired to guard there, I can't imagine that they have less for Harker. So,
I mean,
as far
is it-
as guards and breaking in and the whole nefarious deeds and all of that, we're gonna fucking die. So that's not,
Well,
it's not ideal.
well, what about the business range?
I mean, then one of us would be a corpse and we'd figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so we stake out the place, right? It's like back in the days, what you would do is you go watch the other team practice so you could learn their plays. And that way, when they ran their plays, you ran your own plays against their plays and you'd win.
Isn't that cheating?
So
It's not cheating, it's how you win.
It's not cheating if you don't get caught.
There ain't no rules against it,
So you
all
played
right?
for the Patriots, is what you're saying.
I'm saying I won, all right? My balls were fully inflated, all right?
Well,
We-
all right. So no nefarious.
Well,
Well-
I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying we'll fucking die.
Well, we got that business arrangement with the Be Prepared store, and maybe we can talk to the woman there. Maybe she's got some tools that she'd like to sell to the construction lady person, and that'll be our reason for getting in on the business.
But this lady,
in her house, right?
auger, special, super,
Chief Auger sells Nia Turmeric.
super auger person. Yeah,
Chief Auger, thank you.
chief.
I'm
auger.
not allowed to say Celsius, so.
Chief auger. Yeah, this is why I don't talk in front of those people. I know I'm going to get yelled at for saying the wrong thing. But if she's going to write this writ for us, I mean, why don't we say it's to inspect the tapestries? I don't know. Who gives a shit? Is she going to write it? Just let's once we get in the door, right?
Okay.
Maybe it's are you good at good at stone? You said mining.
Well, rich people
I
like.
watched people.
Go ahead. What are you saying?
So let's think about this.
Maybe the foundation
have-
needs to be looked at.
You have body you are
I get to
doing.
fix the Cava.
Yeah, you have body you are doing things with. Where I am from, the body is left in the open for a long time, and then it feeds a tree. And so during that period of being in the open, if you go back, it is bad smell. And so much so that you can, get sick just instantly from the smell. But in the winter, it took longer, and it wasn't so bad. So maybe they keep it in as cold a place as possible, which is basement, and they are wood, not stone. We go check the stone.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. What are those people called? Stone guys.
Mason?
There we go. We're masons. Or we could just be sellswords that they're looking to hire.
That's
It might be easier because
Kinda
we're a
where
bunch
I
of damn sellswords.
well. What I was gonna say is, I did happen to used to work for Pool, and maybe I want to go work for Harker now. And since I'm known for having been on guard duty at Pool, we could just say I'm creating a new security force, and why don't I want to work for Harker?
And we need money for new equipment, because look at our equipment.
And we need to go to your basement.
Well, I mean,
They're
no,
covered.
but
No,
I mean,
but if you're patrolling,
so far we've been doing nefarious deeds, but we've been doing them nefarious deeds done dirt cheap. So, now we go for a bigger client.
I mean, that's probably going to be my idea. If we want to try doing the sneaking in thing, I guess we could try it. I just don't want to be one of the corpses she's going to work on. That's just my thought. I mean, if you guys have other thoughts,
If they are working on corpses.
Don't assume that, though. Oh, wait. I'm going to go back to not talking.
There's a knock at the door.
Who is it?
You hear a crackling voice. Chief Augur, Chief Augur, Celsia Turnwhip sent me.
Open the door.
Okay. You see this kind of pimple-faced 13-year-old kid with messy trusses of hair. He's wearing a gray robe. Hi, Lady Celsia said to give this to you that she owes you. And he kind of hands over kind of like his little thin hands over a purse full of coin. And that she looks forward to seeing. He looks at the bottom of his hand where he's written something in ink. To seeing this business brought to its end.
well done, boy. Go on.
He excuses
Thank you.
himself.
And I'm gonna flip him a penny as he takes it.
How about just put that in the tide box?
You can.
It's not the same.
Now you can just put it in the tide box for me.
He looks at the coin and says, that's not appropriate.
Why? What? You're delivering a message.
Here, give it to me, kid. I'll take it. I'll put it in there for you.
He puts the coin in your hand.
All right, thank you.
Why is everyone in this place so fucking odd?
Close the door. You know that the priest and the
pocketed.
custodian are a very strange lot. They live penny poor. They are all aesthetics. They are forbidden from handling money.
You see,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I,
no,
I-
of course you wouldn't, right?
I
I just made it up.
Oh,
But
okay. Sorry.
they're literally forbidden from handling money, though. They are true aesthetics.
Oh.
I originally got into argument. See, I'm playing up. I'm making up. I originally got into an argument with her. It was like, just because you worship God of Death doesn't mean you can't enjoy life. And
There's 5 coins in the purse.
5 gold coin.
5 gold crowns. That's right.
Thank God I had extra.
And I give everybody a coin. I had 1 extra in the pot.
Oh.
So Eagle's Dog will get it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I could say that we're a new security force and we're looking for employment.
It is most believable, and she was asking for Colonel of Truth, not just Lieutenant.
Well,
We give her General Truth now.
Original truth.
we're just moving up.
And
Commander of Truth!
we know that river rats are attacking legitimate companies, and she might need that type of protection.
Well, and there's also the fact that,
Head in the jar type protection.
depending, and, if she's not the one that's doing this and it's somebody else, well, that could be a new career opportunity. I don't know about you guys. I like getting paid.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the only idea that won't get us
Killed.
Killed.
Maybe. So, do we want to do this now, or, and she kind of taps the jar if you've got it out. She kind of taps it, or do we want to make a delivery first?
Well, that's up to Hiram.
It's all the way across the Barge Town, just to be clear.
And the river rats run Barge Town. Who runs Barge Town?
Like half of them now.
Yeah. There's only half of them left, but...
Yeah, so imagine from where you're at least 2 hours back to Barge Town. It's about an hour to Society Vale.
I mean, we could say, yes, we agree, we have something to do first.
Look, the bodies aren't going anywhere. Well, I mean, they're going somewhere, but, after that, we don't know that they're going anywhere.
That's up to you guys. You're the boss. We can go and do that on the way, because it's really on the way, right? As long as, I don't know, how long does it take to scratch on paper?
Imagine it's going to take you an hour to get to every single, it takes an hour to get per district in Slaughter Pine. So if you're in Market Hill, it takes an hour to get to Society Vale, then an hour to Smelt Sacks, and an hour to Bargetown. Or you can just go direct to Bargetown over 2 hours and have to go all the way back. It's a matter of how you want to tackle this. What order you think makes sense for the story?
So,
Well, how long does it take to scratch on paper?
well, I'm sure she could write a note of referral fairly quickly.
I just make a copy of Dream just now.
And I assume we could just show up with that and she doesn't have to schedule us an appointment or something. It didn't sound like that, so.
She didn't seem particularly busy when you came.
Okay.
So, once again,
I mean,
to the parlor.
she seemed very uppity that she was...
So are we going to the parlor, or are we going to go try to take care of this?
Hiram, what about your uncle?
I say we go to the parlor first. Seems more pressing to me. Considering my uncle's in a bind.
Alright, so one for parlor.
He'd be mighty appreciative if we helped him out lickety split.
Alright, so Chuckles,
Parlor.
Lester,
Don't matter to me.
Wilson.
Family first,
Alright then.
money second.
Then we'll let her know what we want the letter to say, have her send it over, and we'll head over to Bargetown. And then maybe we'll get a letter back for an appointment with Aurora. And we can take care of that later.
I don't know, you know how the Society Vale people.
Well, I don't know how they work.
Oh.
Covered in coal dust.
So off to the parlor you go. You'll put your word in with Lady Celsia, with Chief Augur Celsia. She will have the letter penned and sent to Big Corey's pit, which should be there at some point or another later today.
Okay.
It's raining outside, of course, so it takes a few hours to get there in the dark night of Bargetown.
On our way, can I keep an eye out for this
Before we do that,
editor? Okay.
Before we do that,
Okay.
some of you should have a light tracker in front of you. What you'll notice the light tracker is that you can see the length of the light marked in yellow, how many hours it covers. You can also see where it has perfect light, fleeting shadows, and total darkness. And you can also see a little column that has the number of lights that you have. So, as an example, if you have a lantern and you have two oil pots, just mark 2 hatch marks there. And every time that you tick down an hour, put it in a plastic protector. It's the easiest thing to do. Just mark down the hours that you tick so we know kind of where you're always at with light. Because light will get more and more scarce as the game goes on. So, if you're going from Market Hill to the Dregs, it's 1 hour. And then the Dregs to Bargetown, it's another hour. So mark off 2 hours off your lamp.
I'll do it.
If you have one lamp, it's going to be really hard to watch for people around you.
Right.
So if you want to keep a lookout, you'll need to burn another light. If that makes sense.
That's not a priority then.
No, it's more of a
You think
priority
so?
to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Because this guy, he keeps finding out about us. He either has people watching out for him, or he's really sneaking, or
Or
something.
he's just going to Big Corey's pub after setting theirs.
Hmm?
Wouldn't that make the most sense?
What's that?
If we go inside a building, he'd be bound to follow us, right?
He just goes there. He just hangs out at Big Corey's. Waits for us to get back there. We always sit down there, drink, and talk to Big Corey and Isla.
It's true. Maybe we just.
Maybe we just need to stop telling everybody what the heck we're doing.
Flapping our gums.
Or we tell them something fake and see if it shows up in the paper.
At Big Corey's, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe.
It should be a thought. I mean,
Okay, I don't burn like that.
you burn light, man. You do whatever you want. I mean, this,
Well, we
this
still
is just
do
my
have-
thoughts. You know, we're walking and talking. Go ahead and fire your lantern up and look.
We still have a bunch of river rats that may try to jump us again because they're stupid.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
I mean, if you
it's
want to,
fine.
I mean, it's a good idea. I'm just saying,
Who has light that they're going to use?
tendency to talk.
Okay.
I do.
You should, just throw it in your plastic protector sheet. We have some spare
I
ones.
put it on the rewards page.
Yeah,
Since I don't.
we do have some spare ones in the other room I can get for us. So just mark off 2 hours of light.
Mark it off, dude.
Mark it 0, dude. So you eventually find your way back outside of Aramore's parlor, and of course inside, as you can imagine, you would hear. You hear the ambiance of the parlor from the outside. You can hear the piano music kind of pouring out. This 2-story establishment with this large veranda on the bottom and top floor. Aramore's parlor has the picture of him with his big, wide mustache carved into the wood. You see the name Aramore, your namesake, Hiram, your uncle. Firstborn Aramore of Slaughterpine, you are.
So
You yourself may not have a good name, but your uncle does.
should we just walk in?
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
The sounds of the storm bleed away.
You know, hold that Zweihander.
Yep.
I'm holding the jar.
By the way, he has Dwight's Zweihander.
Yeah, I figured.
And I'm wearing
and
the spring
Lester's got his armor on. Yeah.
As you walk in, you can see that
And it's repaired.
there are several people around the poker table, green felt round table, playing chips and cards and various other things. You're looking about, and you only see one river rat in here, and he has got a pretty serious bandage across the side of his head. Looks strikingly like the one that Isla had around her head when she got jumped. The place looks pretty bare of river rats at this point.
Is it the guy I gave the ball to?
What?
Is it the guy I gave the ball to?
It is.
Chief?
As you walk in, he's kind of like backpedaling, and he like disappears behind the curtain in the back room in the high stakes room.
Walk right back behind him into the curtain.
Okay, so start. Okay, you throw the curtain open, and you walk into this small room. And in this room, there is a table set with only 3 people. The air is thick with smoke, pipe smoke. As you can see, little ashtrays, little glass ashtrays laying across the table and cars, and there's a lot of gold crowns sitting on the table. Across the way, Hiram, you immediately see your uncle. This pale-faced, like perfect, like soft, smooth skin, almost pearly, with this big, huge, wide mustache, and he's completely bald, and he's blubbering as he's kind of over one of the high-stakes rollers at the table. As he kind of leans down and whispers into their ear, and this woman looks up, and she has this mask that looks like the face of a rat. It's carved from wood. The whiskers are made from silver filigree. You can see her eyes blink underneath the mask, and then to her left and to her right, there is one man who is a very tall, rail-thin man with a mask as well, with these incredibly long ears that are silver filigree as well. And then there's the last person, the third, who has this long snout made of silver filigree. This must be the rat royalty. The whiskers, the teeth, and the ears. They kind of take pause for a moment over their game, and Tilligan says, Hiram? He says, please, as he stammers as he speaks. You know your uncle is a stammer. He's a very affable fellow. May I introduce you to Jim Avanturis? As he kind of motions to the woman with the rat mask. She stands up, and she has the look. She's broad-shouldered. She has the hands of a dockhand. She looks just kind of well-muscled, like barrel-chested. She walks over, and her eyes kind of widen, and she says, "You all must be the lot that took care of Dwight. I take it?" And she looks at the jar in your hand.
I hand her the jar.
She's not taking it. Her arms are crossed.
For you.
Put it on the table.
I think it's time for you all to get out of Aramore's parlor.
Lady Gemma, one of the men says from underneath the mask. He kind of pulls it off, revealing his face. I'm afraid that the rat catchers may have the right of it.
Jesus, did that really catch on?
Catch on?
It seems to say, the woman goes on, that you all snacked off Dwight's head.
Yep.
I've read it today in the broadsheets.
Well, there's his head.
Yeah, it's pretty jarring.
I'll stick a sword in the ground next to me. Here's the sword. So yeah, it's time to get the fuck out and give Hiram his uncle his place back.
Tilligan looks really nervous, and Gemma's kind of standing there. Her eyes are kind of locked with Wilson and unblinking. Like it's clear that she's trying to stare him down. He's trying to stare her down. We're gonna have a little bit of a fight with the minds for a moment. Let's see who can stare. Let's see who can stare each other down the most. So we're gonna do three tests.
Okay.
And whoever succeeds the most tests wins. So it's going to be an intimidate test, and your first test will be routine.
Can I MC hype him up? I actually don't have intimidate, so I can't.
Yeah. So
No, do I?
her chance is 65 for the first one.
Okay.
I rolled a 61, so I succeed that.
68. What is it? What's the first
Routine.
Okay, so mine's 69.
Nice.
And I rolled a 16.
Okay, so that's one success. Next one is standard. Hers is a 55. It's a 7. She won that one.
59, and I won also.
Okay. Third one is challenging. Hers is a 45. I got a 51. I'll reroll that.
49, and I didn't need to reroll.
Okay. She's see the third. Both of them just kind of stand there staring at each other. Finally, she uncrosses her arms. Well, you heard the man, she says.
I do got one other thing to say. Your little rats try to attack us again on the docks or anywhere. It's not going to stop me. I'm just going to come after you three fucks. And I'm going to put your head in a jar like this one.
She nods, smiling.
It was nice to meet you, though. I'd like to see your ass going that way, though.
Boys, she says. The other man puts the mask back on. The three of them start to walk out, and Tilligan is like kind of following in their wake obsequiously. And you escort them out as everyone in the Airmore's parlor is kind of watching them walk out as you're leading them out. And eventually, the rat royalty, the three, are kind of escorted outside into the storm.
Yeah.
And for a moment, you kind of half expect there to be some sort of cheering happening, but there isn't. There's just kind of this weird silence for a moment as people are kind of, all the games are kind of, the passing of chips have stopped, and Tilligan is like a bit wide-eyed, and nephew, he says, I don't know how to thank you, he says. This grim trophy, I don't think we should keep this here. He says, maybe I could just cover it here with this cloak that Jim Aventuras left behind. And he throws the...
Ooh, a cloak.
Do with it what you will. I mean, you know.
You can toss it in the river for all we care.
I think it got its point across.
Yep.
Yeah, that they got ahead of themselves.
I guess so.
I look down at the high roller table. I guess you won that pot too.
Maybe don't get too big of a head. Because no matter what, it'll fit in the jar.
It's true. You're trying.
You know, yeah.
Sorry,
I'm
that
sure
was not
that's
Gemma.
trouble,
What am I doing? That is not her name. I totally messed up. It's Evelyn Frott. I'm so sorry.
Evelyn Frott.
Yeah, because Gemma was one of the was
I thought
with the
Gemma.
dockhand.
I was gonna
The
say. I
dockhand.
thought I had
Yeah.
one for Gemma, and I'm like, she moved up in the world.
Yeah.
For her.
Evelyn Frott. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, best dockhand. Also now the whiskers apparently. Okay.
He here you go. Here's her card.
Yeah.
I don't. Your friends, he says, kind of. He seems a bit beside himself. I'm not really sure what to say here, Hiram. Nephew, may we have a word in private for a moment?
Let's do it.
Sure, Mr. Aramore.
Thank you, he says, smiling, trying to be as jovial as possible, and he takes his nephew into like a back closet, and you can hear them talking. He says,
Well, that's going on.
Hiram, what have you done? You madman!
What do you mean?
You
You seem to be in pretty dire straits these past few weeks.
the dire straits. The river rats were keeping this place safe in the middle of the eternal night. We could be ransacked by brigands from the dregs at any time. The river rats were racketeers, sure, but you know that they were protecting this place, right?
I didn't quite connect them dots. It didn't seem like you were in any position to speak or say anything. They had the run of the place.
Nephew, I love you dearly. You know that, like a son you are to me. Ever since the passing of your cousin, you know I love you, Hiram. And he grabs your face like this. Listen. You have made a terrible mistake. I was paying a lot of money to keep the river rats in good standing with us at Aramore's parlor. And now, who's going to keep this place safe?
I'm sorry, Tillian. I had no idea. River rats got tangled up, tussled up, and all this whatnot we've been attending to, and it just so happens their heads get separated from their shoulders.
Look, the eternal night has got us all in.
The ranks are getting thin. There's not much else they would have been doing.
Trust me, this whole business with the river rats, if these people are thieves through and through, make no mistake, and gangsters at that. And I don't know what is going to happen now. I mean, I can't simply go to the night watch. And frankly, he kind of looks over to the head that's underneath the cloak. I don't think we can really find any recompense for striking the head off their lieutenant.
I don't know what to say to tell you, Tillian. These Eternal Nights is causing chaos everywhere. You know, maybe it may be time to shut your doors.
You did what your heart told you, and as I said, these people are follow your heart. That's right. You probably did the right thing in the long run, but I don't know what to do at this point. The river rats were going to keep this place safe from others. Now I just don't. I mean, coin is good, but drying up quickly, he says. there's only so much squeezing you can do, you see, until you've wrung the rag out of water.
So what do we do?
He says, only if we had friends in high places, then we could figure this out, I think.
So you're talking about seeing about getting an outside investment?
I don't know.
I don't have a head for figures. Tell it to me straight.
It's not a money issue, you see. It's a notoriety issue. I am Tilligan Aramore of Ale Aramore's Parlor. Nobody cares about Bargetown. They probably care about us less as they do the dregs. There's no business to be had in Bargetown anymore. No ships passing by, no merchants. Just coin and old food and wine that will eventually dry up. There's no business to be had in Bargetown save for, well, gambling and thieving, he says.
Funny you should mention business. This whole tussle with the river rats has got us wrapped up in some kind of thing with the, what's the name of the house again? Harker House, yeah. And,
The Harkers? He kind of wide-eyed. Whoa. Orion Harker is a noble councilman. You're telling me you have Orion Harker's ear? He smiles. He beams widely.
Not that Harker, the other one, the woman.
The sister!
Yeah, the sister.
Lady Aurora Harker!
Aurora, right, yeah.
Oh, she's a real upright citizen, that one. And Society Vale, no less. You have her blessing?
Well, not directly. It's just we're looking for some sort of means to be speaking with her. We're trying to get an introduction in there with the chief augur and whatnot. I don't want to bore you with the details. Anyway, what I'm saying is I can see about getting you an introduction to her, but we're going to have to speak with her first.
Yes, if listen, nephew, if we had a name behind us, a name alone is a shield, an escutcheon against thieves like the river rats and marauders, and you see, and if we could have that, then that is a game changer. We wouldn't need people like the river rats to pay extortion fees to or racketeering. We would be a proper place.
You reckon she'd put her name on a place like this? I mean, you still want the Aramore's Parlor on it,
I don't know. Listen, this is your business. I cannot tell you what to do, but but nephew, listen to me. Stop talking. Listen. Continue following your heart and do the right thing. But know this: with the river rats out, that can only mean trouble for this place in the future.
But, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see about talking to the lady and seeing if she can do something. I mean, if she puts some money in
As
here,
I said before,
it's
nephew, stop. He says, listen, I love you. Follow your heart.
Okay,
Do what is best. He kind of steps out. He kind of grabs his nephew and pulls him out of the coat closet. And says, I am so terribly sorry. He begins to stammer once again.
Did we hear the whole conversation?
Yes. The question is, do you want to say anything? Because if you do, you could gain corruption. Just to be transparent.
Oh, okay.
If you start to say anything, I'll give you a look.
You keep in mind, you can interject. I'm just warning you now.
No, I mean,
you will gain corruption for doing that.
Hiram, do we need to talk?
Well,
you all have done me a great service. If there's anything I can do, as he puts his hands together, please, you only need call my name, Mr. Aramore, as the people of the parlor know me.
We can use money. We always use money. It is how your society works, no?
Money,
Hey.
he says.
Sometimes the favor is worth more than gold.
yeah.
Not here.
You are learning too well how to be Aradane.
I mean, back at home, you need something.
He looks very uncomfortable as you're having this conversation with each other.
Maybe we should, Can we have a quick conversation?
Yeah, you see, he sees this,
I don't know what to do.
person in the tower is like a foot or so tall. Isn't that RC opera like
they're very
really,
tall.
Really
they're almost
tall?
they're almost 7 feet tall.
Yeah. Just looking at all these people, he's like looking down and he looks over at
it's like the trees looking down at the bushes.
Yeah, like this really crazed look, like he doesn't understand this elf as people call him, even though he doesn't like that term.
Chuckles, just
I got a meal back at Big Corey's waiting for me.
Maybe I can send a boy to Big Corey's to pay for the most lavish meal you've ever had.
Oh, don't worry about it.
You ever had Big Corey's food? It's not.
Yeah,
Well,
Master.
We buy our food from Big Corey's. In fact,
Tilligan, we'll see you around some other time, but it's been a long day.
nephew, follow your heart. He says as you leave the room.
Wait.
Master Elmore, you have a good night.
Thank you so much. You have done a great service to me. Please, if you ever need of anything, simply ask for Master Aramore. My people will see to it that I am summoned, and I can do something for you in return. This is such a great gift as he motions his hand toward the jar underneath the fancy cloak.
Okay, yeah, we give gifts. We
you
don't
know-
need money.
You know what? Actually,
And she switches
Yeah.
her cloak out for the cloak that's on
Yeah,
there.
The nicer
You want a
clothes.
fancy cloak?
The cloak.
Oh yeah, I want the fancy
The
cloak.
cloak is made of mouse hide that's all been kind of woven together. It's nice and toasty, so put mouse hide cloak on your character.
I'll take this.
Yeah, and that mouse hide cloak. So here's its effect: you can flip to succeed to disguise yourself as a river rat.
Oh, that's really
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that I understand, we go to Fiona and we say, you give gift.
We go to who?
Fiona.
Let's just get back to Big Corey's and talk it over. Take
Who's
her to meet.
Fiona?
She always say, be prepared.
The
Oh, shopkeeper.
The good thing is that
She will
that
never
literally
give us a gift.
Aramore's parlor is just down the road from Big Corey's.
Yeah.
As you make it there, inside you go, and it's fairly quiet. I mean, it's not quite supper time yet, fortunately.
You know,
So we'll try to find the most secluded corner we possibly
Your
can.
corner,
I
yeah.
would say we have
It's-
our own.
Here we go,
It's-
flapping our gums at
That's
Big
right.
Corey's.
You're like
again.
sitting in the middle of the place, like
You guys want to go to the room and talk?
yeah.
I'm telling you that damn reporter's in here somewhere.
maybe.
He's probably looking at us right now.
So,
Looking around everyone in the bar.
so did we just fuck your uncle?
Like I said, quit flapping your gums. We'll head to the room.
You can see a fresh copy of the Slaughter Pine Engager.
I want to grab it.
Yeah. The boy says, it's a brass penny, please.
Sure thing, kid. Just sure thing, champ.
Thank you. Oh my God, are you Lester Lockhart? You're a rat catcher and a blitzball cat thrower. How do you do both at the same time? You must be. He just basically fawns over
Yeah.
you.
You know.
And that one time when you threw that long, you caught that in the circuit field,
Yeah.
45.
Oh yeah. That was a great game. Great game.
Yeah, he keeps going on until he
As
has
the
to shoo
kid goes
away.
on, I'm just
He'll
gonna
give you
take
the paper for free.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
No,
the
no,
paper
kid, here
from
you go.
Lester and walk off while
Yeah.
the kid is
Yeah,
staring.
No, keep the press. Keep the press. Would you sign mine?
Sure.
He turns around his like metal tin. He clunk puts the penny inside, grabs a copy for himself, and puts it
Yeah.
out. Can you sign?
It's the one thing I'm really good at, writing my name.
That's right.
Can't do anything else.
Can you write to Charlie?
Yeah. Sure, kid.
Don't.
How you spell Charlie?
CHARLIE.
Shit. We'll just scribble.
Wow, mister, this is so cool! Look at this! What's your name? He's a rat catcher! He's talking to himself. You sign your name, and
Yeah.
literally it says in big bold print, like the river rat's caught, like in big, like on a newspaper. It's a broadsheet though, so it's two-sided. So there's all this. Like I said before, this place has a tendency to be full of irony and playful pedantry. It's actually kind of not written for the common person. It's like filled with like little in jokes and clever quips.
It's like the New York.
Kind of, yeah. But it is essentially a gossip rag. This as would not be uncommon. But it's full of a lot of sarcastic charm and biting wit. It's a very clever paper. But since the Eternal Night, it's become like, imagine like the National Enquirer. It's filled with like stories that like wild stories.
Baby.
Yeah,
Probably
and
ran a
enough,
story about the bar guest.
and it didn't. No, there's no stories about that. The stories you read about yourself are two. The first is about the case of the missing dog, where its chief editor Ned Merrick interviewed Isla Grapevine about Rufus and what had happened that night, and connected basically the river rats to the lot of you, and then the story went on to basically talk about how the rat catchers, as you've been known by, or now called by, in the paper. It goes on to say that you hang out at Big Corey's a lot. And then, of course, it goes on to say a little bit about what happened with what happened on the dockyards. There's a story about a rogue cannonball dropping somewhere outside of the smelt stacks. And in fact, there's a little in-joke about it. It went back to from whence it came. Luckily, nobody was hurt or killed.
Nice. That's what I wanted to hear.
That's
That's what I've been worried about.
Bodies Gone Missing is like the big kind of splash headline on page 2 on the back. It's a 2-page thing that folds up into 4 quarters. Bodies Gone Missing. Chief Algier Celestia Turnlip seen hobnobbing with the rat catchers in the graveyard outside of Market Hill. What could they be up to? Are there river rats in the graveyard? Are they stealing bodies? Are the dead rising from the grave? No, the rat catchers are on the case. Like it goes on and on. It's very, like I said, it's very bombastic to some degree. It's actually very flattering this as well. But clearly they have not figured out, but Ned Merrick, the chief editor, has not figured out that you have a favorite. He's not connected all the dots. He's not really put anything beyond what I just told you. He doesn't know that that you have a favorite due to you by the order magistrate. He doesn't mention anything else, just really surface stuff that would have been
that he probably
spoken
pays
about
pennies.
from other people.
Right, he probably pays pennies to get.
Yeah. You imagine this whole place is, I mean, most of Slaughter Planet is full of information brokers anyway. Information brokering's good business.
Do they have office?
Well, Chuckles, that might be the smartest thing I've ever heard. I have no idea, but I bet there is an office.
We go to office if we want to.
Well, they gotta print these things somewhere.
It just said somebody interviewed Isla. Why don't we just ask her?
Yeah, she can put a name to the face to the name.
You know, it's probably not the same person every time, though, that reports these stories, right?
In fact, the reason why it's called the Eternal Night is because that is the first headline that was dropped in the Engager the day after. The Eternal Night Falls is what the headline was that next day, and it is penned by Ned Merrick himself.
I'm gonna try to find Isla.
Yeah. Ooh, she says you come over. She's doing something. She's tending to some business. She's counting coins or something. What a surprise to find you back here. It seems like it's been almost a week.
Well, no, we've been in and out. I think you're just not working at the same time.
Yeah, I think we're kind of coming and going, Lady Isabella. It's good to see you.
You too. You want to sit down and have a beer?
I'd love to, but I'm on the clock, so to speak. And she points toward the clock across the way.
How much?
Rufus is loving Bug. The two of them are inseparable, like brothers they are.
Well, of course. Did you see my two new ones? They're out front and back. But
I saw them two rough-looking dogs tied up out back in the barn.
I'm working on
They're a
it.
bit vicious.
They'll get there.
They turned about eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah. So,
Oh, a spot of interesting news.
yes.
Did you know that Bug is a bitch?
Yeah.
Bug is pregnant.
Aw, buggets.
She's going to have pups. Aye, probably in a few weeks, I'm thinking, or so. Her belly's getting a bit swollen.
Larva. Yay. Okay. That sounds good.
Aye.
Then I'll have more dogs around.
Aye.
Okay.
101 if we're not careful. You know how rat terriers go.
I'm okay with this. I don't see a problem. But back to the subject. Okay. Much as
And like she like rubs Pudsy's head. And
Yeah.
is always like at her side.
anyways, back to that. So someone interviewed you to talk about what happened to Rufus?
Aye. Well, when this whole business went down with Rufus and all, we had our conversation, you know, a couple weeks ago at this point, it seems like. You know how things go here in big quarries. Rumors spread because there's nothing else to do in the eternal night. I mean, most people ain't really leaving the vicinity of Slaughterpine.
Right.
So, any entertainer, raconteur, rumor monger that would been staying here hadn't had a chance yet to leave Brightwater, on the Brightwater. So, eventually, someone came asking about it. I thought I recognized him at first, and he was Ned Merrick. He calls himself a journalist or something like that.
Yeah. So,
He's a writer for the Slaughterpine Engager.
yeah, we know. Apparently I don't know if he's fans of us or if we just make good news or something, but he keeps writing about us. So, what does he look like? Is he here?
Oh no, he's not here now. I've only met him within the once time. He's a big feller. Kind of partly happy person. Pretty amiable all in all. Surprised he's unmarried, frankly. Reddish hair, bald in a bit on his head. Just get a big mustache. Dresses all fancy like.
Can I think back to having seen somebody who looks like this whatsoever at any point?
That's a good question.
It seems like he's pretty.
Are you from Market Hill?
I'm from Mount Sawdust.
Okay,
I'm from Market Hill.
That's right. I'm going to make a folklore test, and you can add an assist for this too. So give her an assist, and this will be a routine test.
45. You said routine. 55. Ought to will do it.
Yeah. You know the Slaughterpine Engager's offices are in Market Hill, and you know that that Ned Merrick is kind of he was a local gossip, and then eventually he managed to buy himself a press and started printing his gossip, and eventually found himself paying other scamps among the city to gather information. From there he constructs stories. So he came himself and inquired. I thought it was unusual, in fact. He said he was just simply doing a wandering about around Bardstown, knowing that he hadn't been back here in some time. He saw the fight that night between E08 the ogre. He started just kind of asking questions. We started talking. I told him that I had some friends that were looking for the missing dog. He clutched on to the story like a dog with a bone, and I told him that I got conked over the head. He said he had some interest in the river rats being about in the dregs and Bardstown. Told him that you all found the dog outside of Slaughterpine, that Rufus got lost out in the woods. You brought him back and you got into some trouble with the river rats, and that's about all.
Alright.
Is something wrong? Is everything okay?
Sometimes it's not the best information if somebody keeps talking about you.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you may be the most famous people here in all of Slaughterpine, she says.
And sometimes that's not a good thing.
When you go about carrying a sword at your waist, you can have sometimes you just invite trouble, I think. Right?
It happens. Just curious what he was like. Right now he's writing nice things, but what happens if he doesn't?
I couldn't tell you that. I don't have the mind for it, she says.
No. Alright, well.
I can only suppose more good stories. It seems like you're doing something good. I heard just the other day that you caught the river rats. Read it in the broadsheet I did this morning.
You want to pet my cloak?
And she leans over.
Ah, that thing is disgusting!
It's so warm.
I bet it's warm. How many rats had to die for that one, I wonder?
There was 8 on the docks.
Yeah. Oh, ugh. Regardless. I saw right here that it said that the river rats had done some great injustice in Aramore's parlor, and that you all had taken upon yourselves as good citizens of Slaughterpine to be seeing to the river rat problem.
Wait, you already wrote that?
It's right here in the broadsheet. She shows it to you right here. It's actually fairly congratulatory. It's not It's not just mere gossip. It's like clearly like
They're
talking
cleaning
you
up
up.
these mean streets.
I'm glad he likes us.
Hey, okay.
Now,
How did
glad
he
he
find out?
likes us.
We just did that like hours ago.
Now,
Well, no, you had that run in at the Air Force probably before.
Oh.
He's not
yeah.
talking about what we did. Just
You can see that the story ran alongside. Another story, and there's this like picture of what looks like this person with these kind of webbed wings underneath their arm, leaping through the sky, and it says, "Spring-heeled Jack strikes again in the dregs."
What? What is that? Read that one to me.
I-
Well, I don't know who
Oh, I
can
thought
read.
that was.
Chuckles.
I thought that was just.
I don't think she can read either.
I
Chuckles,
thought that
read
was
that one to me.
That
What's
was just the funnies.
What's
isn't
that
it?
bat-looking creature thing?
Aye, the spring-heeled Jack. She says, "Who wants the NPC card?"
Well, there's only one person who can read. Oh wait, two people already read.
Everybody has functional. Okay, so to be clear,
Oh.
you don't need a skill rank in education to read. It
Oh,
just
you
means
did.
that no, a skill rank in education because you have functional literacy. A skill rank in education means it's easier for you to understand complex.
Okay, sorry.
I just assumed
Like-
brain damage.
Yeah, that's right. Who wants this?
Slow.
I'll take it.
Okay. Aye, the spring-heeled Jack. Some say the spring-heeled Jack's got bat wings, has been running around the dregs, beating up people.
Like bad people or good people?
Trying to come for
Beating
our
up
kid.
people. Just people. Says the Spring-heeled Jack has a big dark cloak that looks like a bat's cloak and comes dropping down from the top of eaves of houses and beats up baddies.
Oh, beats up the bad people.
Well, I mean, they are from the dregs after all. No. The bad part of the dregs. Not like the people who live the dregs, like the bad part of the dregs.
So he's doing what we're doing. But in the dregs.
Yeah.
They said the Spring-heeled Jack has, you can see it right here in the picture, has a nasty knife wound on its throat. Like somebody tried to cut its throat open.
But missed.
Such monsters only come out of the eternal night, I think. But then again, knowing this rag, it could just be, well, it could be horseshit. she
It
says.
sounds like a ridiculous Batman story to me.
I mean, maybe this guy is the hero. Is not the hero that the dregs deserve, but the hero the dregs needs.
We're the dregs!
We're the dregs.
I half thought for a moment one of you might be gallivanting about in a fancy costume.
No, my knees
She
aren't
looks
that
to
good.
chuckles.
Be dropping down from that heights.
why would you put horse shit on your throat?
She laughs. I have to get back to me business. I'm so
Alright,
sorry,
alright,
but
alright.
no less, I wanted to share the good news with you about Vogue.
An ale later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe tomorrow.
Hi, yeah. We can share that drink and catch up.
Yes.
Hey, show you Vogue. Back at the house, she is.
We can go train all the dogs.
Ah.
See them.
Okay,
Like-
so
She turns around and gets
Speaking
back
of
to the
which,
register.
And I'm gonna go get scraps and go take
Okay,
the
sure.
dogs outside and go
That's
for
right.
my training.
Gotta see a woman by the dog.
Yes. I will have more dogs.
At some point or another, a boy who's drenched to the bone in a gray robe, the person who had
Same kid.
same attendant from the House of Augurs comes and says, I was supposed to bring you this, and he hands you a scroll case.
Thank you.
He doesn't wait around for coins. Somebody holds his hand up and turns away.
What about a drink?
You need a drink of water or something before you go?
He walks over to
Or
the.
you just open your mouth.
He walks over to the post, and there's like a natural faucet. There's like a cup attached to a chain on the side of like the wall, and he kind of pours water and takes a drink, and he.
Stay hydrated, kid.
I think that Lester Longarm Killjoy is going to give us a the more you know at the end of every game.
He signs his autographs that
Don't play with matches, kid.
Rondo, the thirst mutilator.
Look both ways before you cross the cobblestone. When you hear the ding, you get inside.
I'm just imagining G.I. Joe.
That's what I'm saying. Like the more you know.
I was thinking also like eventually
Pork chop sandwiches.
like the end of the Captain America movies where he's like, all right, you're in detention.
That's right. Yeah. So you have your letter now from the chief augur. You kind of uncork the scroll case, and sure enough, it's marked with the House of Augurs on it. You can imagine it has the words you can imagine it has the introduction that you need on it.
That's pretty fancy.
It's good. So we go to Elder. We say, see, we give you good story, you make lots of money on paper. And we hold out our hands. And he gives us money.
You were very confused about how this works.
Well, okay. So anytime we want to do something, it costs us money. We need money to do things.
Yes.
We need money to light our way. We need money to sleep. We need money to eat. We need money to probably take a piss after too long around here. But anything we do, well, everybody gets so upset if we say, yeah, money. Why is this? Why are we not supposed to take money?
Oh, I take money all the time. You just ask for it. They give it to you.
I ask your uncle, and you say no.
Well, it's family.
I just said that favors are worth more than gold. That's all I
Well,
said.
what I'm saying is Tilligan is in a bad way, in a rich person way. You know?
No.
Yeah, I don't think
His
I
business
understand
is
that.
going under.
It is?
Well,
You heard the man in the closet.
We weren't supposed to hear it.
No.
ignore the man behind the curtain, right?
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did. Come on. He's repeating himself 20 times for everything he says.
I had to go to the water
Okay,
closet.
so-
I missed half of this
Alright,
conversation.
so if I understand all the euphemism, who he wants you killed? Because he kept saying follow your heart.
He didn't want me to kill anyone. He wants me to find a rich man, rich woman investor for his business. Put their name up on the sign or whatnot. I don't know. Anyway, he wants some notoriety because we run the rats out.
I thought he was looking for protection.
Why doesn't he just say that we're protecting him?
Well,
Wouldn't that just be easier?
when you
I
got
had an idea
when you're a
about this.
man like Tilligan and you have to build up a reputation, you can't be begging for things in front of everyone. You can't just be calling out and saying all these things in front of all the customers.
All you gotta do is just say, my cousin runs the rat catchers. Or my nephew runs the rat catchers. Done and done.
Well,
He's
we
got
can't-
enough protection.
We can't be around there all the time. We got things to do.
Which is why I got an idea. All right, we put a team together. All right, we use this Ned guy, this newspaper guy. We haven't put a advert out there because, like, when we were trying to recruit players, right? You put an ad out there saying, "Hey, if you think we got what it takes, then you come and you try out for the rat catchers or whatever we want to call ourselves." What we do is we start our own crew.
And
Yeah, what-
we have recruits wait
What I'm
at the parlor.
My idea was, while we're at the Harker lady, we asked her to invest in Tilligan's parlor, Aaronworth's parlor.
I
I don't
mean,
think that's gonna work, man.
aren't we
Why
already
not?
asking?
I mean, we're famous around the city, and she'd listen to us a little bit, right?
I mean, so if we're going to this place and we're posing as mercenaries, it'd be good if we actually had a crew.
A crew.
We
Yeah.
are the crew.
Well, I know, but we're like the head honchos, right?
I'm back from feeding the dogs yet.
Yeah. Go ahead and make your routine handle animal. Sorry, your standard handle animal test. My apologies.
I don't know, man.
Standard.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna use a coin.
Oh,
I'm getting the dogs food. And that worked. 16.
that's 2 successful tests. You just need 1 more within the next
Getting
week.
myself some dogs.
I'm just saying. I mean, we can get. I mean, when you're a winning team, right? Everyone wants to play for you, right? Right now, we're the winning team here, so we can get all those people that used to be river rats. They come to us now.
So you want to take a bunch of gangsters and make them part of our crew?
I'm just saying we can put them towards a more noble purpose, where we're putting money into our pockets, and we give his uncle a better deal than what the river rats were given. Because they were robbing him blind, from what I hear.
Eagle's job draws a triangle, puts river rats at the top. The rat catchers at the top.
We're at the top of the food chain right now, right? Because there ain't that many. This way we got people watching their backs. We don't have to worry about is someone going to jump us in an alley again.
I don't know. You need to talk to the boss about that. If it serves the crouching one, I'll do it. But I don't see this. I don't see that. Because that eliminates me being able to,
Well, there's always going to be
appropriate
upstarts,
sacrifice.
right?
offer to the, offers. My offerings are going to get less and less.
Actually, there might be more. Because if we have a larger group, that means more that we can take on and more that we can do. And we leave them to do the little petty things that we don't want to do.
Like guarding
watching
the parlor.
Airmore's parlor.
That's
Which
huge,
if they
you
just
guys.
have... If there's just happens to be, our reputation that goes with these people, it's a very good chance that there won't be much that happens at the parlor
And
that they have to deal with.
We put a name on it, not like the Timberwolves, because, that's already taken. But, I don't know.
Yeah, the Pine Expanse Timberwolves.
The-
That was their rival team.
Yeah, and the Drop Dead Canaries.
So-
Whatever they were.
We call our recruits the Terriers, if we're the rat catchers.
Sure.
Want to be rat catchers? I want to live on past dealing with the river rats. They're pretty much done.
Then we need to go and speak to editor and tell him, okay, new name.
This is what it is. All right. You know how we like the pickle thing? All right, this is what it is. We do something pickle related. That way, if people are in a pickle, they come to us.
Pickle.
Pickles kind of put us there.
And we, instead of
Not my fault, guys, she says.
Kind of your fault. You did it twice.
Well, I can't help it. I have debts to pay, she says.
It's a pickle then?
No! She laughs like you don't understand.
Well,
Look, it's a little bit above your pay grade. I'm just saying that right now.
Yeah, it's fine, whatever. But it is a note that they have found bodies from us in pickles. Just saying.
She says it chuckles. What the fuck is she going on about? What the fuck are they all going on about?
And, we will proceed to argue in a very, intellectual argument about, various,
you pickle raven.
social mores, and, then she'll have to explain to me, exactly what references they're making, between the jokes about a pickle or, everything, and it takes a while.
I think we're going to be here all night, she says.
Do we want to stick with rat catchers? But I'm just saying we should recruit some extra people. Look, Aramore's parlor's going to need protection, right?
Thing is, it's
You need money, and you do not have enough right now.
Well, that's why we lean on the uncle. That's what I'm saying. If he needs muscle, we can provide it with our reputation, and then he's basically paying that muscle.
So to expedite this slightly, because we are going in circles, to be clear, you have a name in a newspaper.
Right.
Literally a gossip rag.
Yeah, again.
How far that extends across Slaughter Pine, you don't really know. Nor, you would all know this, you do not have enough money to hire people. Attract people, you can build notoriety over time, but now is not the time.
Right.
You're not ready. To be perfectly clear. Unless one of you takes an appropriate profession, then everybody in Tyrion starts to gather people around you.
Man, I got leadership trained.
That's right. So, once again, this is not a solve it with skills problem.
Right.
This is you all, as a group,
Don't
above
have-
board, need to build more reputation in
Right.
the city.
That's what I'm saying. Guys.
And need more
We've
money.
had two articles written about us.
Yeah. Money and reputation will get you to where you want to be.
I think you guys are putting the cart before the horse.
I think I'm looking into the future for a plan.
It's like
I'm
your
not
dogs.
saying this is going to happen tomorrow. I'm not saying we go to the editor right now. I'm saying that this may be the solution that will work for Aramore. For now, he'll be okay, because everybody's going to assume that if they try to do something to the parlor, we're going to come over there, blah, 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 because there's all these things running around about us being these, I don't know, the badasses, whatever. So we're fine for a little bit, at least for Aramore's parlor. But right at this moment, I think maybe, while we still have a reputation, and possibly one that's continuing to build, we probably need to go talk to Aurora.
Yeah, we can go talk. Sure.
Okay.
Aurora it is.
Right.
Uh,
But in the future, we're gonna get one.
right, alkalates.
Yes. Accolade? Accolades?
Is there anything you want to do
Lackeys.
before you leave? Bart, before you leave, probably rest, but
Yeah.
you want to do before you leave Big Corey's? You'll all restore to unhindered, by the way. Unhindered.
I don't think so. I mean,
Already there.
What do you think? No?
Nope, I don't think that.
get a meal, take a
Did they
rest.
stay the night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should shower shave.
Yeah.
One down.
Mark a
8 to
day.
go.
That's right. So, you gather your things the next day. It's not too busy here in Big Corey's pit, but sure enough, you get a trek across the city. So from Bargetown to Society Vale, it's going to be an hour. And eventually, as time passes here in Slaughterpine, in the Eternal Night, it's a fairly clear day. Which is surprising all in all, given that it seemingly has been raining nonstop for the past 3 days almost. But you come into Society Vale with its well-laid brick roads. You can hear the rattling of coaches across the way. You can see the tall manses protected by walls of that are you can't quite see it quite over the top of. There are people walking here with parasols and fine large dresses and black three-piece suits. The whole place just kind of reeks of aristocracy, or what would serve as aristocracy in Slaughterpine. And these are not the aristocracy of like the effete, soft style of aristocrats you would find. These are people who were pioneers, who came here first and established business and connections. So they themselves have kind of a rough upbringing. So these are not people you would simply roll in the middle of the street, because they are all armed in some fashion or another. Most of them carry a rapier or a court sword and a pistol at their waist, men and women alike. There is no difference between the sexes here. It's whatever you can take, whatever you can take, you get. So these are the people, once again, who came here first, as was the Harker family. Some of the first families, in fact. But otherwise, it's fairly clear outside as you head across the way in Slaughterpine. And following the addresses that you know, you end up somewhere near Harker House. You can hear the sounds of crickets, of course, because it's technically nighttime in the Eternal Night. The roads here are fairly well lit, even more so than Market Hill. But all the lights kind of cast across these tall walls, and you can see from which you kind of bleed in from Bargetown to Society Vale. You can see graffiti like it says "Eat the Rich," like graffitied on the walls until you finally come into Society Vale proper, with hills setting up on manses rose on raised hills. But the place is kind of labyrinthine, just like the rest of Slaughterpine, but well lit. As you look beyond the light, you can see nothing but just pitch black darkness in the Eternal Night. The places between where the lights kind of gloam and they don't quite meet. But you come to Harker Estate, and you can tell because above the large iron gates that you can see through, it says Harker Estate.
Estate, not house.
Yeah. Out front there is a
Same.
there's a guard.
This means there might be two houses.
There's 25 houses.
All estate means is that there's smaller houses next to a big house.
There is a guard outside who is armed with some sort of polearm. There's hundreds of polearms. You have no idea what it's going to be. A glaive guisarm, could be a felchard, could be a pitchfork, could be whatever. But either way, it's like a weapon. It's not just it's a ceremonial weapon, and they are wearing the house colors of Harker. You can see the kind of characteristic H actually kind of emblazoned on his lapel over his shield arm. Even though he's holding a pole arm, and he says, "Stop right there, citizen." He walks over, his boots clacking on the ground, shod in metal. "What business have you at Hawker House?" He seems to look for your letter.
Estate.
Hawker Estate. Yes. Stop! Blood corruption! No, I'm just kidding. "What business have you at Hawker Estate?" He smiles.
Hold out the letter.
"Yes?"
Yes, we need to speak to the lady of the house.
And I will hold out the letter that we got from Selsnew.
"Oh. House of Argus.
Yes.
Must be important business.
It is.
Please come inside," he says. He lives who. He kind of whistles twice with his fingers, and he hears the gates open outwardly, and you step into this kind of well-tended garden surrounding this gray 3-story brick home that looks large and imposing in a state of half completion. There's scaffolding on one side. You can see that the bricklayers and masoners and whatnot have been building this house for some time. Remember, Slaughter Pine's only 50 years old at best.
I'm gonna nod at her and be like, "Masons."
Yeah.
You see state of
I'm
garden?
sorry, do you want to go back and pretend you know shit about rocks?
You see state of garden? Oh, it's terrible. They
Oh,
stunt.
now you want to be gardeners too?
No, they stunt everything.
Do we just want to household everything?
It's kind of hard to run a
Who's the
garden
cook
without
over
any
here?
sun. What are you supposed to do?
No, I mean they cut it. Like,
Yeah.
don't let it be itself.
Well, they don't want it to watch it die. It's sad.
You can hear a harpsichord from inside. You notice that there's a couple of buggies parked outside too.
Do we know one of those buggies?
Yeah. You step
Does
inside.
one look familiar?
They do not know. Oh, yes, in fact, one of them is the Harker construction coach. But these are single two-wheeled buggies
Oh, okay.
meant to bring people across Society Vale very quickly. You can see some squires and other manservants out front, attendants, other people who are here. And as you come inside, there's this kind of gray flagstone intermingled with like this gold furniture and button fixtures and this very brocaded kind of heavy curtains, kind of looking like this. Yeah, as you imagine, like a Victorian, Baroque kind of Victorian estate looking. Mm-hmm. A fire is roaring in the hearth. There are people dressed to the nines inside it. A small handful of people. Clearly, there's some sort of gathering, if you will. And you can see that men and women in various styles of clothing that are very popular at this time, and greens and grays and blues and other colorful clothing. Canary yellow, it's a popular color right now in the eternal night as you stand out in the darkness, are kind of gathered sipping tea from little ceramic cups and laughing. The men folk are kind of leaning on the harpsichord as one of them's playing the piano with a big broad beaming smile with perfectly white teeth. You know that they're probably wooden dentures. Painted. There's either ivory dentures. You see, it's the pencil thin mustache, and this woman with like dark ebony skin, almost bluish. If you were to see her outside in the eternal night, she has this fancy castanet in her hair. She has this very elaborate looking yet functional dress that terminates into pants underneath of it, met with these high boots and these long kind of sleeves. It almost looks a little bit like. You imagine like bravuras you would find entertaining in Market Hill. Like it looks like they're trying to mimic her style, but hers is like well trimmed, well cut, well fitted. But it is not like a simple dress. This is a functional attire that definitely is probably beyond what any of you could potentially probably afford. And as you walk inside, she says, "Well, good evening. I don't believe we've had the pleasure of meeting before." She kind of looks back and forth. The guard walks up and kind of leans into her ear and... "Oh, you were sent by Lady Selsnia... Sorry, by Chief Augur Selsnia Turnwhip." She says Lady Selsnia for a moment and corrects herself.
They all know each other.
Please, I should invite you to the salon, if you wouldn't mind. She snaps her fingers for the guard. You've only seen 2 guards. The one who let you in and the one at the door. He comes over and he says, please, if you would, your armaments.
What?
Your armaments, sir.
Yeah, weapons.
Oh. Okay.
Will anyone hold out any weapons?
No.
I don't carry any weapons. Or
Just a flaming football.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't hold on to anything.
Okay.
It's my sword.
Please, join me if you would. Might I ask, she says, walking. You can see the dress is like kind of, you can see it's clearly like got like this like leather bodice. Like she has like the build, the physique of a swordsman. She walks with a certain grace that definitely evokes, like, she's probably, you would guess, as you walk by her hearth, there's a pair of crossed swords. She must be a Castellantier. Like a Castellantier sword fighter, you would guess. You can hear the harpsichord still playing from the other room, and she welcomes you in, and she says, would you care for a drink? She says.
I'll
I
nod.
certainly would.
Be much obliged.
I am very pleased to see you here. Lady Selsney and I are very good friends, you see, she says.
The chief harker did indeed mention that.
Before I read this letter, and I am very intrigued to read what is inside, perhaps a round of introductions? I am Aurora Harker. You may call me Lady Aurora, if it would please you, masters and lady.
Well, I am Lady Sabella Culpepper.
Why does that name strike such a familiar chord?
I'm not entirely certain my family resides in Sawdust, so...
Have you a father who works for
Pool?
Pool Mining Company?
Indeed.
I thought I recognized your surname. You come from good stock, lady. Lady Sabella, she says, as she curtsies.
Something we share in common, it appears.
And you, sir?
Just Wilson. Are you Castellantier?
I am, she says.
Well,
Are you yourself a fencer?
oh, absolutely not. The big sword was mine.
Look, I have spent time outside of Slaughterpine, and I have fenced with many great swordspeople in my time. And there was a man who was a Rowan Mantle, and he used a sword such as which I saw you walk in with.
Fencing?
Well, to a degree, I suppose you could say. You know, first blood and all.
Ah, well, I can do that, but I can't do the fencing.
Well-
It seems very much a lot of dancing and not swinging more.
Well, that is most sword fighting, I would say. She comes in close and she clasps the inside of your arm.
Oh, I'll do this. I'll return the same.
Yeah. I know you. You are Lester Longarm Killjoy of the what's the name of the team?
Timberwolves.
Of the Surga Fields Timberwolves.
It's me, the one
Yes.
and only.
Yes, gosh, it would have been 2 summers back. There was a game I remember in 231. You had thrown this. It must have been like a 30-yard pass. It was incredible to see. You didn't win that game that day, but I remember that play in particular.
Yeah, that was a great game.
Who was the catcher? What was his name?
That was my buddy Reggie.
Reginald. Yes, of
Yes.
course.
The one with the elbow.
The one with the elbow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reggie, yeah. Yeah, he wasn't as good as catching after that injury, but, you know, I mean, his hands, I swear they had glue on them. They probably did. But, I mean, I could throw anything, and it was within his reach. That thing stuck.
That's incredible. Well, it is an honor to have you here in my home, certainly.
Yeah,
May I get you something to drink?
Sure. I'll take whatever you're having.
You see a young woman walk in, and she says, "Please bring Master Killjoy whatever he asked for. I'm afraid I've not had the honor of meeting you before.
Hiram gives a bow and sweeps his hat around. My name's Hiram Aramore. I'm a nephew of Tilligan Aramore, who's the proprietor of Aramore's Parlor, you know.
Aramore's Parlor.
Yes.
You know, I read a story, Slaughter Pine Engager. It said, well, it would have been before the Eternal Night, but it said that Master Aramore had come to some sort of windfall and had begun expansion of the parlor. Is that true?
Well, not as far as I know. I mean, could be true. He doesn't tell me all his business dealings, though.
Oh, yes. And what majestic creature are you? As she looks up toward you. Creature.
I shake my head for a little bit. Chuckles.
Ah, a funny one, I see. Clever.
We assign ourselves monikers.
You are probably among the Siabran tribes, I trust. Your people are from the Siabran tribes.
When she says the word Siabran, like, I kind of perk up a little bit and I say, you have extended me a kindness not many in this city would. Most would call me elf.
Well, you know that the early settlers of here in Slaughterpine dealt with the Siabran.
I am familiar.
Old Matilda Poole and, I forget the other name, forgive me. Lady Matilda Poole, one of the founders of Slaughterpine, dealt with the Siabran in the early days when the Accord was made. You see, when the Arbors, when the Arbors and the Pools, when the Arbors and Pools first came to Slaughterpine, they had struck a deal, the Accord, with the Siabran tribes to only cut so deep into the Lockwood.
It's true.
That's interesting history.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as things tend to go, things change over time. The new sawmills opened up. The Siabran retreated deeper into the Lockwood. We were a bit too eager, I suppose you could say, with our demands to keep up with the growth of the city. 7,000 souls in 50 years is phenomenal. Certainly, but know that I honor your people, she says, not really not sure what to say. And despite the fact that the Accord was broken, know that there are still some in the city who believe strongly that we in Slaughterpine could not have survived this long without the trust of the Siabran, even in the Eternal Night. And I know that our relations will only grow, especially in these times of duress.
Were I able to speak for my people, I would say thank you. I cannot.
Well, you do me an honor by being here, certainly. I should like to speak with you at some point in the future, perhaps, more about your people. I am most intrigued.
What, you want to know customs?
Oh, no. For another time, we could speak more about that. There is some business, apparently, though, that Lady Celsnia has sent you on. I hope you don't mind if I break the seal here. Do you mind terribly?
We don't know what's in it, so yeah, sure.
She turns around and she taps the seal on the side of the mahogany
she's
desk.
talking to every person.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to see if she seems truthful or if this is she's blowing smoke up everybody's ass.
Roll a routine scrutinize test. No more secret tests. They're gone.
Secret.
Right on track, yeah.
46, got it.
You got cracked.
She seems earnest
Okay.
at this point.
Okay.
And if if you have any other questions along the way, feel free to ask them.
Okay.
She cracks the seal. Tall and thin and beautiful and athletic, this woman is. She breaks the seal. Her posture and manners are perfect, impeccable. She doesn't seem like she's from a blue-blooded family. Looks like she's not putting on airs either. They seem like genuine affections that she's sharing with all of you. They're not like acts, so to speak. Is what you know, Lady Sabella. She reads the thing and she says, "Ah. I see. Well then, it seems that you have done something for the Chief Augur, something very important, she says, and that we should become friends.
So we've been told. And it would appear that
She sits on this like plush velvet couch with this like kind of wooden carved back, this purple buttoned couch. She sits down and crosses one leg over the other and puts her arm over one of it, and she asks you all to sit down in chairs yourselves.
Sit.
Yeah.
what I was thinking is that it appears that those of us here have found ourselves kind of between engagements, if you will. And as you can guess, there's certain jobs, careers, professions, or whatever that some of us can't return to. And so we've all gathered together and are looking for ways to possibly make it through the night.
There is a passage I seem to recall reading in a Penny Dreadful some time back. Lyndon C. Genevieve and his incredible escapades. I think it was volume 2 or 3, and there's a quote in it, and it says, "When there's darkness, there's opportunity. I commend you for seizing opportunity in the eternal night." I mean, the city, for all of this strangeness, this thing that now exists in our world beyond the Lockwood, for all of that, Slaughterpine has, to some degree, been forced to change, to adapt, to grow, to seize opportunity. This is something I am very interested in myself, you see. We Harkers did not get what we're at today. My brother and I did get what we're at today by simply waiting for something to happen.
Then it appears that possibly are once a line.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta call an audible. You know?
Lady Celsi and I go back ages.
No, I really wanted to read the letter.
And
It's in that letter.
she and my brother Orion were very close at one point. In some ways, she was a part of our family, I suppose you could say. We went one way, she went the other. She had a calling, you see, from a dream. I remember she told me she had a dream, and that's when she said the custodian spoke to her with such clarity that it was unmistakable. She knew what her calling was.
That's awesome.
So precisely
Right?
the very meaning of the word awesome. To
Exactly.
be inspired by the powers beyond the Well of Souls. And now, in this eternal night, such strangeness, we all have this opportunity, you see, to seize it. Because time will not last forever. If this is in fact truly the end of days, the last cataclysm, if you will, well, it's only a matter of time till the darkness envelops all. So what do we do with our time while we're here?
Get drunk.
Master Aramore, indeed you are not wrong. We indulge. We explore our hungers, our things we couldn't have before when there was nothing but light. The eternal darkness, eternal night has afforded us opportunities.
What are
Undeniable opportunities.
What are those opportunities that you seek? Because
Well, for many years, I thought to continue expanding the business. I mean, that's what one simply does. Hark Construction didn't grow out of nothing, you see. My brother Orion and I, martyr love him. And he left the business. He decided to join the Slaughterpine Noble Council. And he saw the Noble Council as a means to an end. Harper Construction continues to grow. Eternal Night has come, but businesses must pivot. The sawmills have gone quiet. The hammers ring no more in smelt stacks. So, in some ways, I suppose I have just decided to stop working so much. I've put off so much of my time. She leans forward in her chair. I put off so much in these years, you see. Working day and night, growing the business, growing our largesse. But for what? To continue working endlessly? No. Look to the wine sinks, look to Aramore's parlor, look to Big Corey's, look to the Hay Deathbath. What are people doing? They've stopped working and they're focusing on the things that they only do when they have free time.
Making merry.
Precisely, making merry. Enjoying themselves. Indulging, if you will. And here we are.
What happens when the tap runs out?
Well, if you ask some people in Market Hill, they believe that the darkness can't last forever. So if we know that this darkness, this eternal night, is not truly eternal, what do we do at the time? We take advantage of it until it goes away. It's only a matter of time. Something will bring light once again, surely. I mean, we've all read the Librum. We cannot deny that the gods are real. We know that miracles happen. We also know that darkness happens as well.
Yeah.
But one cannot exist without the other, and one cannot last forever. Despite what Ned Merrick may say in his gossip rag, this night will not be eternal. It will be passing. And I suppose in this time it's a matter of what we choose to do at that time.
Well,
She kind of looks off wistfully, like looking past you, looking through you. You turn around like you're looking at, and all you can see is like some tarnished mirror.
you know, you say, you know, your life was meant for building business, and you know, why do you do that? So you just continue to build business? No, you should explore hunger, huh? So if you had not built business, you could not explore hunger, because people who have not built business cannot fully explore hunger. They need to keep working, even if in dark.
I think I understand what you're saying, but I don't mean like a literal hunger, like in the sense that people at the dregs live brass penny by brass penny. I mean going after seizing the day. Seizing the things that you leave in your rear view because of the things that are in front of you.
Yes, I understand. You make hunger allegory. Is that what it is?
Yes, yes.
So you make hunger allegory for other things, like learning art of sword fighting, maybe, or learning how to paint, or something. But
All the things you wish you had time to do that you don't. 'cause
yeah,
you're
but
working.
if you're too busy working, you cannot learn how to paint because you need to provide for yourself or maybe family. So I'm saying you build business now. Now you have time, even with darkness or no, maybe. So
To enjoy the time that we have remaining, at least through the darkness, because when the light comes, just like it does every night before the eternal night, when the sun rises, we will have to return back to our work or to our labors. When do we celebrate? When dusk comes, not when dawn rises. So you see, this is a blessing from the custodian. The eternal darkness is not an evil that we must fight, but a moment that we can expand our minds and explore new things.
you say expand.
She has to lick her fingers?
You say expand our minds. So you are looking for people who are of mind of like?
You hear this kind of lilting laughter coming from the other room as the others are kind of like talking and telling jokes among one another. The men still playing the piano. They can't hear you, just happen to hear this over the conversation in the deadness between the words. Why, yes. You tell me that you are looking for opportunity.
Yes.
Well, my fine opportunists, do I have a job for you?
Go on.
You know, I've always considered myself a bit of a gourmand. I mean,
And I immediately signed the equal stuff. What's gourmand mean?
she says, really likes rich foods.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, before, you know, I've always considered myself a gourmand, but I have always had to remain lean, but, you know. But the day the eternal night fell, I got a craving I just couldn't shake.
Mm-hmm.
I have had foods from all across Aglador. Slaughter Pine, the finest of chefs. But I never had a taste of a rack of Aridane ribs. Never dined on Ghent kidney. Never sucked the marrow from a Siabran toe. But I knew that I wanted to. And I knew I had to. But, don't get me wrong, I would never bring harm to anyone innocent or guilty. I would never, on the account of my appetite, I would never do such a thing. That would be wrong. So, I found an opportunist, a young woman named Jules, to procure, well, bodies, she says, to satisfy this strange taste. I did not kill these people, nor did Jules. Someone else did, something else did. There was no use in letting good meat go to waste. And I found that I was not the only person in the Slaughter Pine who sought such exotic tastes. So since then, and she kind of motions to the other room, I've found others like myself. And we don't kill people, to be clear. That would be wrong and outside the law. But once the spirit passes from the body, I mean, what use is the corpse? It is simply going to be put into the ossuary anyway. So, Jules brought them here.
So you eat the poor.
I wouldn't say poor, but
Do you eat your own?
I think she'd try anything.
I think what is important for you is that they are already dead and not murdered.
I mean, I think she's got a point, right? I mean, if the soul has left the body and gone to the well of souls, then, I mean, it's just going to waste.
We use ours to feed trees.
is it so unusual? I mean, truly, is it so unusual to have such a primal hunger?
For everything I have heard about your culture, it is about your culture. But with us, it's what you do to your enemy, your greatest enemy. You consume their heart.
Do we not consume the flesh of the martyr every Sunday when we attend to church? Do we not drink the steward's blood when we take in prayer?
I
mean,
don't.
what is it another thing simply to see to the dead who their spirit is already gone? I mean, what harm are we really doing?
Well, you've mentioned earlier you was coming into these exotic tastes. Who knows how long this eternal night's gonna last? I'm just worried that, first it's the living, or first it's the dead, the poor, what have you. How long are you going to be eating them? And one of these days, it's not going to be so exotic anymore. What if you turn to something different?
I can rest assured that would never happen. I would never take a person's life.
Well, when it comes to me, long night, you start out with the ale and the mead, then you move on to the wine. Before you know it, you're halfway through a bottle of liquor, and then it's on to the other stuff like the red caps and whatever is on the street. I'm just saying, this is how things escalate. We've all been there.
Look, I know that you've spoken to Jules. She's told me already.
That's obviously the letter obviously pointed that out.
This letter?
No.
What's in the letter?
It says that you are looking for opportunity and nothing more.
Okay.
Yeah.
She kind of lays the letter down. If you are opportunist, as you say, here is the decision. Jules clearly is not good at her job. She got caught. She's been let go, so to speak. As for you, I don't suppose you would want to fetch us a body or two every fortnight? I pay 25 crowns per. Opportunists, right?
Yeah, but my opportunity is to protect the city from, this.
Oh,
I'm just saying, 25 gold goes a long way.
In between your fighting of evil or whatever it is you see yourself doing, simply come by Harker Estate. If a red scarf is on the gates, that means you will simply go down the road around the corner to find the coach. It'll be waiting for you. You wait until the rains come. You bring back a corpse, only from the ossuary and only after the spirit has left the body. As I said, no one is getting hurt. You bring it back, and I will have the coin delivered to wherever you are at.
What?
I'll have my man give you the coin at the gates even.
Okay. Not that I'm necessarily agreeing with any of this. I just have probably one of the strangest questions. Why during the rain?
Otherwise, how would you get through the graveyard without being seen? The chief augur has hawk's eyes all across the graveyard.
Yeah, but the light distributes more when there's water in the air, which means it'd be easier to spy you.
Well, now you understand why Jules has been fired. It seems that you have a better head on your shoulders than she.
Look, I'm not saying that I agree, but look, let's just talk logistics when it comes down to it. It's easier to see when there's water in the air.
You know what I'm a big believer in, Lady Sabella? Throwing money at really efficient and good people to do things that I don't need to worry about the details of. I offer you 25 crowns per should you bring us
What you're
a
asking.
body. And once again,
Well, tired?
So 150 crown.
25 crowns per.
Body.
For
Body.
Not per
Not
person.
for us. Not for us.
Body, not body.
Right, correct.
The chief augur has vouched for you, and that means I can trust you with this information.
But you want us to break her trust to bring you a body. Once again, not judging, just confirming that this is the state of affairs.
Well, you know, it is the eternal night after all. Friendship aside, what harm will it do to her, what she does? A body goes missing every once so often. 3 so far. Has anyone cried over spilt milk? No. They're more worried about the coming apocalypse of the eternal night. They're worried about bigger things than the corpse of some child that has gone missing amid the night, whose spirit has already passed on, undergone the appropriate rites. What I'm proposing is this. I believe each and every one of you are willing to sell yourselves for 25 crowns. That is how much I can at least assume about the lot of you, otherwise you would not be here. You are opportunists like myself, and your hungers are different than mine. Yours come with the clink of crowns, not the sizzle of lung and kidney soup. So if you are truly opportunist, as you say, and I know you are, 25 crowns per. What do you decide to do with Lady Celsnia? That is your business. I'd prefer if she didn't know, of course. I mean, if we are to get into business together, it's best that we don't upset the apple cart. But I'm guessing that you are using her for her money as well. So it's not a matter of, is it right or wrong? It's a matter of, how much coin can I put in your pocket to do these dirty deeds? That's why I believe it doesn't really matter whether or not you break your trust with Lady Celsnia.
Once again, I didn't say I'm judging. I'm just pointing out where you might have had an error.
I did get where I was by simply playing checkers. I played chess, Lady Sibella. I trust that you are someone who also wants to play chess as well. You strike me as that type.
I happen to not be the only one in the room. So whatever my type is doesn't necessarily matter so much as what the group type is.
Well put, in touche.
So I appreciate your offer in the spirit in which it's given. However, it seems to me that me and my cohorts need to discuss if we'd like to continue in the business. I don't know what you want to call it.
Arrangement.
That's a good
Delivery service.
Oh, yes. I will leave you here in your privacy. I shall close the doors, and you can discuss among yourself what you wish to do. But we must come to some accord before you leave. I cannot permit you to simply leave without giving an answer. We will strike an appropriate contract. We will make the appropriate deals. We will sign our names as would be like the days of old in the Second Age. We shall imprint our blood upon the contract. A true seal, if you will. Just above board, by the way, Wilson, this is like something that seems like you would have read out like a liturgy of like the Crouching One. Like this is like some really devilish shit.
Right.
Like it's like
this actually sounds right up my alley, but
it's putting up your like devil feelers. Yeah, it's putting up all the wrong signs. It's like, oh shit, this is for real. Nonetheless, I shall leave you to adjourn in private, but when you're ready, simply knock on the doors and we can talk more at length. She takes a short bow, smiling with her gleaming white teeth, and she begins whistling, and she joins the other partygoers and her manservant as he closes these heavy, decorated wooden doors. They meet to form this big, kind of luxurious carved H inside the inside the doors, and you are left alone to talk about what you're going to do next game session on Memento Mori. Okay, everybody gets 100 reward points.
Huzzah!
Yeah.
That's immediate.
Yeah. Immediate. Yeah. So, any corruptions tonight? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Choose an order rank or a chaos rank. It's up to you. Let's talk in brief real quick about the end of the night. What do you all think? How do you think it impact your character? What's up next? I think we should start with Tim. Because I'm going to start with Tim. I never start with you.
What do I think about this situation?
Yeah, from your character's perspective, like
The whole session in general, too.
yeah. I mean, a lot happened tonight. You close some door. You kind of closed up a quest, so to speak. You opened up some new ones. You've had some new opportunities presented in front of you. Some of the darkness of the Eternal Nights now being kind of revealed.
Yeah. As you know, I wasn't present for some of the Mortician stuff, so I mean it's kind of been nice to catch up on that arc. I don't.
Feel free to talk what's most immediate to Wilson. I mean, don't feel like you need to cover all grounds. What do you think is kind of impacting Wilson at this point?
He sees challenges with this new situation that we are locking ourselves into a Faustian bargain And that's just how he sees it because
That's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Simply put,
All
that
right.
is exactly what he's seeing right now, and he is all about giving sacrifice to his god.
Yeah. Is he truly a worshiper of the Crouching One? Do you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is it so?
That's
I guess
how he knows the Siabra.
Yeah, the best comparison to the that's funny. The best comparison to the Crouching One is kind of like is not like a strict god of murder, but more like a god of sinister ends.
Right.
So think of like how in Christianity the devil works, right? Like it's like Luciferian like evil. Like evil in the sense it's like self-serving.
It's self-serving, yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Selfism.
self-serving. Yeah, it's not Satanism, but it's Luciferian. Like it's strictly the Crouching One is implied to be the devil, right? So that's interesting. Okay, all right, that's really interesting. Think about your next profession. That's a really good kind of pivot point too with that too. Depending on where you're going. What about Killjoy?
So Lester's pretty conflicted because 25 gold a body is good money. He's trying to think of a way maybe that this can all work out, but he's not the playwriter. He does the work, right? So
Yep.
if someone else can come up with a plan, then he'll go for it. If he says we can't do it, then he'll go for that too. But I mean, he does have that kind of ambition to maybe start a team of his own.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can get the money to do that,
Yeah. What a means to an end, so to speak.
right, it means to an end.
What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice a part of yourself to get what you want? Yeah. So to that point, what Tim made before, like here's this really interesting opportunity.
Yeah.
Let's go next for Hiram.
So Hiram is pretty excited about the fact that he has put Tilligan back in charge for sure. This is something that he's been working towards for quite some time. But his uncle's reaction kind of caught him off guard. So he's kind of like, now that I've finished this one quest, he's dumped another on me. A drunkard's work is never done. So I think that, in terms of what's going on with this specific offer, sees it more of a means to an end. Like he wants to stay in this woman's good graces, so she will also take this side offer to help out Tilligan. So he wants to take the offer for the delivery service to sweeten the deal, basically.
Which is not asking you to kill anybody.
Yeah.
It's not really bad. Right? What about Chuckles?
Okay.
Chuckles is very bewildered by Airedane culture. He is a believer in the source, but he was I haven't gone into too much detail, but I'll at least say this much: he didn't come to Airedane Society willingly. He was taken. So I'll at least say that much now, and maybe it'll actually come out around the table or whatnot. But so he has converted to the source faith, but it's kind of hard for him to still understand all the nuance behind it. And so he thinks of things in very segmented terms. And so he's like, oh well, you say this in this situation, but then you do this. The perfect example is okay, well, everyone in this society is so obsessed with money, yet it's rude to ask for it when you need it, that sort of thing. So he's also seeing in this situation, someone wants to basically eat someone that's already passed on. Well, he knows that there's a certain ritual that has to be done, apparently, before someone's soul moves on. And what did it really get to happen? Or did they take it before that ritual happened? he's really confused on all of it and how like he himself has zero interest in eating someone, but like also is not like immediately appalled by it, because you know I've taken some little cues from things that you said over the years about Sea Opera Society, and so I can't remember if I made it up or not, but you know it's just like, yeah, we eat the hearts of our enemies, but you know, like you got to be like pretty seriously enemy in order for us to do that. And so if you want to do that, then you know, sure, but he also knows that anyone in Aridane society would think this is wrong and there has to be a reason for it. So yeah, he's conflicted. He doesn't know how to feel about it because he's got two cultures clashing within himself. Yeah, it's.
Is he conflicted or confused?
Yes, good question. He's confused.
Okay.
How he feels about it, he isn't that emotionally
But he
attached
doesn't have
to
like
the
a
situation.
specific like moral.
No,
falling towards one
because
way or
his
the other.
his original like upbringing was you leave it outside so that nature can take part of it back, and then you put it under a tree so nature can take the rest of it back. So if a person wanted to do that instead of the birds or worms or you know whatever, then fine, as long as it gets used and is not. Yeah, that's kind of his thing, but. But he was raised in Aridane society, so he's like something that him telling him is telling him, yeah, maybe there's something wrong.
Yeah. So last but not least, Lady Sabella.
Honestly, like for Sabella, this is kind of a gray area that she's been stuck in at this point. She's not really incredibly religious, and she's also pretty practical when it comes down to it. So she's like, it's a body and they want money. Like, she kind of feels kind of icky about it, but to be honest, as might have come out repeatedly in previous sessions, she cares far more about animals than she really does about these people. Like, her group is who she cares about. So, when it comes down to it, she's like, is the money going to help our group? Yeah. But she knows that people probably have some kind of moral hang-up on this, so she's like, but maybe other people are going to care about doing it. So she really, like, it seems weird, but she doesn't really care all that much about this decision. She's like, maybe.
What do you all think?
The other thing, yeah, that's really where it comes down to it. She's she's kind of like, I don't really want to break Celsnia's thing, but Celsnia just showed that she kind of, like, she got a little bit irritated with her with the whole, like, seeming like the nobility thing. And even though, like, Sabella's a burger, she doesn't really get down with that whole thing. But then there's also this lady who's like, now I want to eat the poor. So she's like, she's kind of stuck in the middle, honestly, on all of this. Like, she's just like, today has just been a shitty rich people day. That's what it's been.
It's interesting with the Eternal Night that kind of is bringing out all these. It's like all the things are kind of like buried inside your mind, like the things that the thresholds you would not cross. Like all bets are kind of off. That's kind of what the thing with the Eternal Night is. It is truly, like I spoke about with the game. It's like it's an area for opportunity. Whether or not you choose to seize it is up to all of you. Obviously, it's really. By the way, thank you for sharing that. It's really that's what I think really this game is about. Is like how can we take the kind of like strange kind of like switch this and that like for characters and like put it against NPCs and see how they react.
See, my only thing is I want to do this, but I want to find a noble body to bring to them back, so they eat their friend.
Yeah, that's gotta, like...
That's my switch on this. That's what I want to find.
Yeah, Sabella's kind of sitting here going, I mean, like, in the whole, like, if you got the religion thing, yeah, I guess the spirit's gone, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, she's kind of there, but at the same time, she kind of doesn't like that this whole narrative has turned her into, like, all these nobles just doing whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where she's like, I'm not crazy about this whole thing, but if I can take their money from them. Because now she's got it in her head that she's like, or I can just lead a group of people
Yeah.
that aren't these assholes.
Uh-huh.
And that sounds like a good idea. Well, yeah, no, these assholes are fine, but like those assholes.
Oh,
Yeah.
those
Just
assholes.
There's
gotta
the
find-
assholes you like and assholes you don't like. I was
Right.
whenever during the lead up to this, I was trying to kind of like slowly tease out this is clearly like a cannibalism.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
No, I knew
Eat
it
the-
the second
but they
she
eat the
was like-
rich on the wall.
Yeah.
Did you not see? Yeah, she even showed us.
Like, cannibal.
I just held up a thing and I said cannibal. Like that.
I didn't see it at all.
Let me see if I got it here. Yeah, that cannibal. The thing is, I wrote that like really early on when she started talking, and I was like, "That's what
Cannibal.
she's doing with
As soon as
that
I
body."
heard,
She
as soon as I
wants
heard
to-
the
she just-
ravenous
That's
soundtrack,
right.
we
She just
know.
wants to indulge.
Oh no, it was before that. When I saw the
Yeah.
whole party of people and
Uh-huh.
stuff, and we were approaching, I was like, "That bitch is a cannibal." All right. Now, whether I have a
Is she
problem
a
with
fine young cannibal? I have a really cool picture actually.
once again,
of
whether
her.
there's a problem with that or not, honestly, Sabella doesn't care. She
Yeah.
just wants to make sure her people are doing what they wish to do. So,
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, we'll continue next week. Thank you all for playing. Hope you all had a good time.
yeah.
We'll
was grabbing a book.
Everybody, it's all good. Yeah, grab a book. We'll continue next week, and thank you all for listening or watching. If it's on YouTube or Patreon or Podbean, whatever. Hope you're enjoying this. But this was a side quest, by the way.
Yeah.
One of many side quests. And in fact, I ran this specific side quest because we had people out, and then it's turned into like a 3-session thing. So
Yeah.
there's so much inside this adventure. Like there's so many different strings to pull. I'm really interested to see what direction you go, and I'm trying to kind of layer on like opportunities, like the Spring Heel Jack thing.
Yeah.
Like that's another kind of side quest thing maybe within it. But there's also a main story too. But we're not in any rush
Yeah.
to get anywhere. Let's let it play out naturally.
Yeah.
Have fun with it and see what happens.
We gotta do all the side quests before you do the main quest.
That's right.
The way
It's
when
like-
you get to the main quest, you're like way overpowered.
Right. I had all the
Easy.
gear.
Yeah. Well, you should know that as this is all above board. As the Eternal Night progresses, the adventure difficulty increases
Oh.
because desperation increases, right? So that's above board. We're not going to use that in our game, but it is. But you've already seen some of it. Like
Oh, sure.
30 Days of the
Prices.
Eternal Night prices are like double,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You also know that the sawmills have gone quiet, that
Yeah.
the mining operation is done, and it's promoting all this weird. There's all kinds of stuff going on in this city. We have a lot of things we could do, that's for sure. But I really enjoyed this. I'm really glad we have the opportunity to run this too.
Yeah.
I think people will be very surprised when they see this out in publication. 2022, baby. Cool. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Till next time. Bye.
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 Bye, guys.